crossover.
Crossover.
Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover. It just crossed him over. Danced to another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
All right, time for the crossover. Powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. Oh, I didn't even notice what you were wearing. You still got the faith.
It's chilly outside. I have no faith.
It's a nice looking hoodie.
Josh has faith. He's 2 games behind the Braves. Schwelly's pitching tomorrow night against the Mets in Atlanta.
Josh has no faith either.
You got to
Nick has faith. His team
sweep the Mets.
Nick's team might win the World Series. He's got faith.
I just want to score a run. One.
It actually sounds a lot like my frustration about a month ago.
I'm trying to be Mr. Positive, optimistic guy. You did on Friday.
One. Right?
That's all we got.
Yeah.
One GD run.
Now, the Giants might be better than you think, just like Illinois football.
It doesn't matter. It all
comes back.
Everyone told me, don't worry. They're still blah, 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 blah. They're 4 games clear, the blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Look at me now.
Now, can I ask you a
Them
question?
Tigers are hot.
Mike Schaefer on Saturday, he comes up to me. He's like, they're still got, come on. What are y'all worried about?
That's what everyone told me all summer.
Now, to your benefit, the Twins are cratering.
Yep.
Who's cratering harder?
Well, but the Twins were in a really good spot. They've lost 22 of 33.
I would imagine that if you did that same math on the Royals, it'd be
September's not been great.
It'd be pretty similar, yeah.
But I mean, 7-game losing streak is a 7-game losing streak.
If you go back to the very moment that
2-7
Vinny broke his finger or whatever,
yeah,
it's just,
Well, and I wonder if they would have done something different with their roster than what they did.
Well,
but I have a question for both of you.
Did you have an injury? An injury?
Yeah, I like this.
Hey, our team is not built
Josh.
that
Well
way.
played.
Our team is built to have 2 guys do really, really good, and if one of those 2 guys goes down, it's bad.
Cleveland's best pitcher went down in week 2.
Hey, but Tommy Pham's been good for you. But what about Frazier and
Tommy
Hampson?
Pham?
So I have a question for both of you, because I would like this. What if it comes down to this weekend?
It will.
And
It will.
either one of you have to keep the other out of the playoffs.
We're not talking to each other this weekend.
Yeah, it'll be
All right,
tense.
just checking.
It's going to be bad.
Yeah. Like you'll even watch
could.
what you say. You won't even get something royal or brave. Like, oh, that was very brave of him. Oh wait, I can't.
Add
say
in a sleepy loss to Purdue, and you got the
the trifecta.
Wait a minute.
You got the trifecta.
This show could implode on Monday.
Hey,
At least you're doing Big Red overreaction at Whiskey Fest.
Whiskey Fest.
I love whiskey.
okay.
I might need some whiskey.
I don't do very many winning Big Red overreaction shows.
Uh-oh.
Great.
Did you tell the fine folks at Whiskey Fest this?
Whiskey Fest might be the perfect place to be on Saturday.
Ooh.
Wow.
Ooh.
Well, we've just.
Do they allow cigarettes at Whiskey Fest?
Did you become
Outside.
fatherless? Did you get rid of the kid this
No,
weekend? What's
she's
going on?
great. She's amazing.
Okay.
The light of my
Boy,
life.
it really puts things in perspective at the end of a frustrating day, doesn't it,
Totally.
Connor?
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. You know what? Look at it through her eyes.
She
None of
can't see anything.
None of what happened on Friday, none of what happened this week, or maybe in West Lafayette matters. She's got the whole world in front of her. She won't even remember this past week. She won't even remember the 7-game losing streak.
No.
So look at it that way. But
That's
you
good
may-
for her.
you may have an advantage.
I'll remember.
Because the Braves have set up their pitching staff really well for the Mets series. They got Schwellenbach, they got Sale, and they got Fried.
They decided to really roll the dice yesterday and pitch Grant Holmes in hopes of being right for the Mets. Now, had they lost that game to the Marlins, they would be bleeped.
Hey, the Marlins are 57-99, and their manager may get a promotion to the Reds. This is a wonderful world.
Whatever.
Sorry, man.
Whatever.
I mean, you're wearing this sweatshirt. You brought this on yourself.
I didn't do this to myself.
Hey, it could be worse. You could be in a world where
I'd rather be in that world.
the rope hats that they wear in the NFL,
so
which
many
fell
rope
out of
hats.
fashion.
Yeah, they're
Someone
back in-
has forced it on us for those to be back in fashion.
Oh, golf brought it back, and now it's in the NFL fashion.
I
Do you have a rope hat?
do not have a rope hat. No rope on any of my hats. Look, they're talking about fun things on MLB Network. I love MLB Network. I love baseball. It's great.
Sorry, man.
Anyway, football, that was great, right? What the hell?
The
What?
Panthers won. What are you mad about?
Andy Dalton is the future.
They
Yes.
did,
Yeah.
Just when you
Ginger's
think
got to
that-
stick together.
I know. When you think the Heat miser's done,
Like, don't you
he
guys
comes right
get a
back at you.
10% discount today if a Ginger wins a game in the NFL?
Yeah.
Can you believe
I believe we get a free taco at Taco Bell.
it was 3rd and 46 in overtime? 3rd and 46. Imagine that.
Is it technically 42?
42. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah,
3rd and
I just wanna-
42.
I don't want to
What
exaggerate.
yard line were they on when it was 3rd and 42? Their own 40 something? What are we doing? What is going on?
They were sitting there on the end at midfield.
And people are like, "Oh, they should have called the sideline, whatever, the extra hit on this." No. You got yourself into this.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's true. Now, technically, it could have been called.
Could have.
Just saying.
Could have. I thought so.
But had that been called, they just would have probably had another false start and probably would have moved backwards anyway.
Exactly.
I'm jiving with you now. I'm with you.
What if they would have taken the ball? What if they would have taken the ball to start overtime? How do you think that would have gone? Do you think it would have been 3rd and 42?
Actually, if I think about it, that's a good question. It might have been the wise move with the DNA on that team.
Yeah.
Is to go first on offense.
Yeah,
the way the game
just
had
take a
unfolded,
shot
yeah.
immediately.
Get up, stay up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
I don't
Yep.
know.
That's usually a motto I've had in my life. Like, once you get up, stay up, and avoid
3 hours and 59 minutes.
the Grim Reaper.
Thank you for taking
Yeah.
this picture, Jacob. 3rd and 42 on their own 43-yard line.
Nice.
It's good. That's good. That'll get you where you want to go in overtime.
Oh, do you know that your first down marker is inside the 10 and you are looking at the midfield logo in front of you? It's not a good thing. Yeah.
Oh, God. What the hell?
I believe it's Tim Brando who astutely pointed out the first down marker is all the way over there. Yeah, you're like,
Good.
yeah, we know.
It's a long ways away, Timmy B.
Thanks, Tim.
He was amazed by that.
I think Tim
Oh.
Brando is a good Thursday, Friday night announcer.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, sure.
he likes to have fun, and that's what those games should be. But there is no chance on God's green earth that they are putting Timmy B on a good game on
Yeah,
Saturday.
He likes to make sweeping proclamations.
Bury him in the slate on Saturday and Sunday.
Mhm.
I mean, they don't treat him like Greg Olson, but he's not getting the marquee game.
It's tough. He did that Bucks game on Sunday. That was
Yes.
Yeah.
He let everybody know that he had a car coming to pick him up at 3 a.m. in Lincoln.
That's right. I
so
did,
he could
yes.
go to the Eppley Airfield and fly out.
Wish he would have been able to get some Guy Fieri chicken there.
Ha!
Chicken guy.
Couple of years, you do the same thing. You'll be back. That's what we're really
We had
waiting
Block
for.
16 Saturday early on too. Made me
Oh.
pretty excited
And
about.
you just
the
thought
airport.
about
I did.
what would happen in a couple of years when
Yep.
you're paying double for it at the
Oh.
airport.
I did.
All right, let's play a little game here.
People are, by the way, we're getting a lot of things about a lot of correspondence about what's going on our website right now.
It is going to be fixed and an email will be resent.
There you go.
Oh,
Okay, then.
pick 'em.
Yes.
Yeah, because people are trying to get in.
Yeah, I mean, you got like 5 minutes once that email
So
goes out.
just hang tight.
On
tight.
my
Nobody is able to do it
Yeah,
yet.
it's not a you problem.
Yeah, it's not a you problem. We're working on it.
I got in at 10:01.
I don't think you did.
I have a fake entry. I'm just testing the system in case there's any flaws. I can let you guys know.
We've got
Good.
a lot of texts, a lot of
That's good,
tweets
though.
and emails.
That's
Yeah,
we have a lot
that's
of
good.
interest.
Mhm.
Yes.
People would like
Yes.
to make some money.
Yep.
Okay, sorry. What were you going to say? You were going to say something stupidly positive. Stupidly positive.
What was I going to say? I've completely forgotten because I'm swimming now in the negativity. It's like quicksand. I'm
Sorry.
trying to run away from it, and you're trying to drag me down.
I'm sorry.
Just while we're sitting in this, the link in your email is currently working.
All right, we're back.
Go.
So you're saying, Josh, that people should have just received another email.
I am saying that the link in the original email now works.
Okay. There you go.
Boom.
I'm going to click on it. I'm going to
Yeah,
see
use
what
it.
happens. Yes.
It works.
Can confirm. It does work.
Yeah, see, that was as temporary of a hiccup as I've
Get
ever
on
seen.
there right now. Get
Hey,
on
they
there.
got
Good work.
the Royals and the Orioles playing.
That, if the season ended today, that's what it would look like.
Wow.
Yep.
Look at
The season,
Detroit.
unfortunately, does not end today.
There's Detroit.
There's a whole nother week.
What if big meteor hit Phoenix?
Well, Well, you kind of did last night when they blew an 8-run lead to the Brewers.
Yeah, sure did.
How about the Padres?
Sucks to suck.
Because we're not supposed to talk about football,
We can talk about football.
What are we supposed
I
to
love
talk
football.
If I
How
can't
about
talk
the-
about football, I
how about
can't
the
talk about
Padres?
baseball.
The Padres finished with the Dodgers and the Dodgers and the D-backs.
They're fun.
Hey, they're only 2.5 back of the
Yeah.
Dodgers, I believe.
Yeah, they're good and fun.
Don't talk to me about the Padres. The Padres.
It's probably fool's
We're
gold.
talking about the Padres.
Who can we talk?
At least we
about?
got the Padres.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if you Darvish.
No,
is
we
gonna
don't have
carry
the
them all way.
Padres. Nobody has the Padres. Nobody's a Padres fan.
Fair.
Who's this good for? Nobody. The Diamondbacks go to the World Series last year. Who's that good for? Nobody. Nobody cares about the Diamondbacks going to the World
take.
Series. There's happiness for nobody.
Connor and I love baseball, and I don't think either of us watched a second of Rangers Diamondbacks in the World Series.
I may have watched a second, but it didn't matter to me. I didn't feel any sort of pleasure
You
from
just had a
it.
terrible weekend. Caitlin Clark, the Fever got beat. They got destroyed.
Well,
She's
that's
4-17 from
I
the
do-
floor.
that's
I do
because
love
the
Caitlin
big
Clark.
bullies
Did she get a Fever
in the
jersey?
WNBA poked her in the eye.
Yeah. Okay, let's.
Did you get a Fever jersey?
Of everything that happened this weekend, and we may get some clarification on some things when Matt Rhule speaks. Can we just speculate, just out of control, on John Cook's black eye?
Yeah, I'd like to.
I told my mother-in-law I bet he fell off his horse.
I think the horse one is a fun one to
You should
speculate
see
on.
the other guy. That's what he should say.
Well, that's what I said. Maybe
That's what I thought. Like at the bar in Lincoln, he was watching the game Friday night, and some guy was mouthing off about John Hole. He's like,
That's my guy.
and then all of a sudden there was a bar fight. But I think maybe that would have already come out. It would seem to be like a big deal. So maybe that's like put that a possibility on the side.
I just like to think him and Kelly Sheffield got in a fight. And
And
Kelly Sheffield
He
looks
just
worse.
appeared out of
yeah.
nowhere.
Yeah. They just somehow cross paths, maybe on a flight or something.
He said he was going to say something about this on his TikTok. Yes.
Harper Murray stopped him, and she said, "No, it's an exclusive on the TikTok."
That was my second theory, was that he got injured trying to do a TikTok.
That many more followers.
so I think it's
Release the footage.
he got hit by a volleyball, because the most recent TikTok is about kind of serving, and he's already got the black eye.
That's not what happens when you get hit by a volleyball, though, right?
Have you seen like Harper Murray yesterday?
Yeah, they smoke
She
those
almost-
things.
She almost killed a woman.
But it was right where
remember the Krause one in the Creighton game that like she literally had to say, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, I'm surprised that we haven't seen some of those volleyballs explode.
Like in flight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like as they hit him, they just go.
Yeah, it just pops.
That'd be like the equivalent of knocking the guts out of a baseball.
It sounds
Exactly.
different when
Like Buddy
Creighton
the
and
Jet.
Nebraska hit a volleyball.
Nice. Good take, Josh. Good take.
Can you recreate that for people that maybe don't follow the sport?
It sounds like a cannon, like a literal cannon.
It's a great sport to watch in person.
When Texas hits the volleyball, it doesn't sound like that. I don't know what it is. I'm not smart enough to analyze the sport any better than that.
Why did you have to make it about Texas?
Is it?
Why couldn't you say
just example of a good team that is also very good at volleyball?
What does it
Stanford.
sound like in comparison to when Otani hits baseball? Is that about right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It just sounds
Explosion.
different
Who,
from Ohtani.
by the way,
Good comp.
like, hello, you got to 50-50, pal. Maybe you could stop. His last 4 games are
he
unreal.
just keeps hitting home runs and stealing bases.
I don't know if this is the case, and I tend to believe that this is not true. Pete says John Cook met Mazuka.
Oh no!
I don't think that's right.
Oh no!
No.
Yeah, because Mazuka was at least at the game on Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna I'm not gonna
We don't know what he was doing on Saturday, though. I guess
Mazuka or John Cook.
Mazuka
I hope Mazuka was like getting enraged.
getting locked in.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Ready
hope
to
so
push
too.
people off the ball.
Somebody's got to do it.
Yep.
Gunnar Gatula maybe should get some enraged too.
Well, now he will. Now he knows.
What were you like on Saturday morning compared to 2 days later? You have a lot of rage. Just let it out.
I don't have any rage.
Just if you'd like to go on a rant here for a little bit, just go on a rant.
Saturday morning would have been only a
I'll
5-game
save that
losing
for the-
Did it
streak,
ruin
right?
your weekend? Did you have big weekend plans?
it kind of did throw off the vibes.
Ooh.
It messed up
Yeah.
the vibes. I didn't.
Well, remember that's like the best part of watching college football when you've got a full Saturday slate because your team played the night before or on Thursday.
Yeah,
you
it
got to
would
watch
have been
Saturday,
great.
and you're like, oh, cool if they won.
Yeah.
But then when they lose, you're like, ugh,
Yeah.
I hope you all lose.
Exactly.
Every one of you.
Now-
Exactly. Big meteor over the whole thing.
Now, what did you think of the vibe outside and inside on a Friday night in Lincoln?
I thought it was good. I mean, it was, like the tailgate lots were a little less full, but that was to be expected.
I
But
was
as far
told-
as the in-game stuff, it was good.
So this is the way it was explained to me from people that were coming from here. Traffic was super light.
Yeah.
No problems getting quickly into your spot. It felt weird because there were a lot like late arriving tailgaters.
Mm.
But once you were in the stadium, it felt like a Saturday.
Yeah, agreed.
Mm.
That's pretty much how it went for my eyes as well. Same as some other Saturdays, like where they go to overtime and they don't get any yards. First downs.
An incredible
10 years.
An incredible streak continues.
10 years.
So do we have to
Yeah.
to erase that? Do we have to sacrifice Kenny Bell?
I don't know.
I'll do it.
That was
Whoa.
Whoa. That was the last time Nebraska scored a point and got a first.
Was he
down.
at the game on Friday?
I don't know.
He's been at just about every one of them.
He's
right?
a content creator, so I
Yeah.
think he was.
He was
okay.
looking for tickets, I saw.
Okay.
On
I just
Twitter.
that number since that game.
They hooked him up with the sideline pass?
Well, remember when you and I did the first down
You
exercise?
only have
Yes,
to,
that was fun.
per year.
Yeah, that was fun and very depressing. But 28 plays minus 21 yards and 4 interceptions during that time. That's really bad. That's super bad.
Hey, you're like, oh, well, you got a good quarterback. That'll be fixed. Nope. Turns out he got sucked into the vortex, too. I'm also mad at the drive. Let's be clear. Young Dylon is a freak. He's incredible.
Yeah,
he's a very, very good quarterback.
Yeah.
But why did he inexplicably drop the ball twice?
I don't know.
on that drive. That was triggering.
It did get a little bit of this is kind of Jeff Sims like all of a sudden.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're in the mode of like, all right, now we just have to survive.
Yeah.
And then they went down and they put together a drive, and
Mhm.
then they missed a wide open guy, and then they missed a field goal.
They decided to kick
What
a
time
field
of the
goal.
night was it that you had your nighttime coffee?
It
quarter?
was in the first half.
Wow.
It was in the first half. But the they don't have the backup vat of coffee
No.
up there. It's just one vat and gone. And so that was disappointing for
What
the
a
second
tease.
half.
I forgot to ask you, did you have some Thursday night?
I had some. I had
Okay,
some
good.
on Friday night.
Good.
Oh yeah.
No, Thursday.
Oh,
night.
I had some on Thursday night
at,
too.
at the press club.
Back
Okay.
to back nights.
We walked by and kind of like, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
There it is. I'm gonna be having this a little bit later.
I had it. Venmo Chris writes in, dear Happer and Odson, should I bet my life savings on Illinois to win the Big Ten after being a surefire 9-win, possible 10-win playoff contending Nebraska team? Interesting question.
But
Thoughts?
can I follow up with how are they a 17.5 point to 18 point dog on the road at Penn State?
That
People don't believe in Illinois. They believe more that Nebraska's just not back.
yeah, I don't know. That actually kind of seems about right to me.
The
I honestly think that's the case.
so I haven't looked since we began at 6. I brought this up to Nick. The Minnesota-Michigan line is really weird. Like Minnesota can't stop the run. Michigan can only run. They're only a 10-point dog in the Big House.
It's the power of PJ.
Wow, are they? Yeah.
PJ Fleck,
I haven't-
greater than Shrone Moore.
I haven't looked at the lines yet
kidding.
for this week. Minnesota. Yeah, 9.5.
Mhm.
9.5
So That's
on the FanDuel Sportsbook. That's pretty nuts. I don't know. They probably just figure, well, I mean, look at the total, 38.5.
Yeah,
They're
that is
probably
low.
they're probably just looking at, let's get out of here. 21-10. That's it. You know,
go from beating USC to winning 21-10 against Minnesota.
it was impressive. It was impressive what they did.
It was a good game.
I thought it was impressive what USC did too,
Yeah,
to be
I
honest with
thought
you.
that was actually like a really good college football game.
Banger.
And also, it became
USC, by the way, 14.5 point favorites against Wisconsin this week.
that sounds about right.
Yep.
Mhm.
I think that sounds about right as
Yeah.
well.
But did you see the Buffaloes of Colorado going to UFC or UCF? Which big nude kickoff show is there? They're going to
Yeah.
Orlando.
Really?
The bounce house.
11.5 point underdog.
13.5 at
It's
this
now
very
at the
moment.
13.5?
Yeah.
Ooh, I got to sit well with Prime.
That is nuts. At the same time, I'd like to ask Dave Aranda, what the hell? What's going on with that?
Victory cigar.
Victory cigar.
That was a horrible play.
Mhm.
They should throw that out. That is a horrible. Don't think about victory cigars
mean,
anymore.
Can you blame them though? Because only Colorado could fail on the first one and get an opportunity to do it again on the second one and
Yeah.
complete it.
Yeah. And once that ball went up, I figured, oh, this is going to be a touchdown.
Yeah.
And I was just, hoping that it rattled around against the grass.
Yes, I was hoping that he trapped it.
Yeah.
I was
Now,
like, oh, I think he did.
The idea of starting in the back of the end zone to come up and play the ball, I'm okay with that. The other guy,
It's not a horrible idea in theory, as long as you do it.
Well, the other guy kind of lost his. I don't know. He lost his man. And all of a sudden, he's like,
Yeah. Okay. So if you
there you
have
are.
3 guys set up in the back of the end zone, just like waiting, standing on guard. Okay, they have to come up, but then you're guarding the other receivers man to man, so they're open. Like they're.
I don't be like a box out drill.
Maybe just scoot up a little bit.
It looked very similar to BYU 2015,
Yeah.
Can't rank 'em.
Oh, man.
where you have to account for certain people,
Yeah.
and then you're like, that's a tough way to start my career.
Yep. But nice win by Colorado. Nice
Yeah.
job.
We
Nice
can't
job.
They're
we
back.
can't quit Colorado.
Nope.
You have to watch because there's so much drama,
I watched it.
and you don't know if Shadur's going to get killed.
Yep.
I watched Travis Hunter,
Oh man, he's so good.
And-
He's
He is.
very good.
and Colorado's offense is basically this: they run a static 3-by-1, and it's just F it, Shadur, make a play or throw it up.
100%.
And
That's what their
Travis go make a
offense is
play.
built off of.
So
And yeah.
I want to see if Shadur's either going to get killed or he's going to complete something. You go,
Yeah.
dang.
It's a total disaster, but it sometimes works. About 50% of the time, I guess. And then after that, I got to watch the great K-State BYU. That was fun.
The
And
burrito bowl.
And ESPN showing the BYU guy puking
Yes.
Oh, really? I missed that.
on a great return.
Oh.
They follow him over the sidelines, and
He was puking while he was that crazy return. I did not see
Didn't
that.
see it.
I didn't catch that part. I watched the return live. I go, this is going to be a problem. He's running back 40 yards, picks it up backwards, and then runs down the other sideline and scores.
didn't see that coming. I
Yeah.
did not think they would embarrass K-State.
Yeah, they got after him. That poor guy. Got to work on that burrito.
Says he will Saturday
That
night.
beefy 5-layer burrito.
But does Kansas State need him? Because the guy from Florida State never ate poop, and they finally won a game.
That's true.
But when will
It's
people
the woke
understand to
agenda.
stop making these
Good thing.
proclamations
Oh,
to do bodily harm to themselves?
it's pretty clear that the K-State guy's doing it for social clout.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
he has set a time when he's going to do this,
Mhm.
and he'll be streaming live
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know,
it's
from
kind
the head up.
Yeah.
it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. I don't know. He's not going to shove a burrito up his butt, but something will happen, and they'll make it good for charity. I'm sure. I'm sure Taco Bell will get involved.
I do like BYU tweeting out the final
Liv Moss.
score and it says Liv Moss. Yes.
It's pretty good. Pretty
Well,
good.
who was it that got who got blown out? It was either North Carolina or North Carolina State.
Well, they both
and-
got blown.
And the graphic they just tweeted out was just final.
We've
we
gotten
gotta-
more creative with those
Yeah.
these
You know
days.
what? I think
Put
content.
it, hey,
Yeah.
I think social media content people show their true colors when your team is bad. Like I think they need to give a raise to the White Sox
Yeah.
social media person
They're leaning into it.
because when they lose, their tweets are great.
I would just
and
say,
he's right. You got to be running out of things to. All right,
Yeah.
what did we tweet about
Yeah.
today?
I would just say, hey, if you want the final score, you look it up on the internet. All right. Sorry, I don't have it for you here. Go find it somewhere.
This
No.
ain't the place.
Hey, now, I just thought about this. Did Illinois tweet any snark towards Nebraska?
Let's go find out.
I don't think.
First of all, shout out to Illinois with their fantastic football helmets.
The correct helmet, yes.
That is correct. Nice job by them. Let's see.
Because they have taken shots at Nebraska after a victory.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, okay. I don't know if you count this.
Ooh.
Um,
Need a ruling.
So after the game, they had a video of the east side of Memorial Stadium on the front, and then they rolled out a banner which was fake, and it said the final score on there, and the tweet says roadkill. Does that count? Is that within
Not really.
within the rules?
Let's see if they do it this weekend if they win another road game.
We don't, but Nebraska doesn't have an animal. mascot.
No, but they put
Right.
that to do the ILL.
Oh, okay.
The
That's
ILL.
creative.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it's their thing for winning road games.
Yeah.
We'll see if like their next road game, if they do the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah, they're boasting the fact that they're the only school with 2 top 25 wins.
That's true.
I see that one more than anything.
They're one of the only schools to have that giant guy catch a touchdown too.
Mhm.
Hey, they have a giant guy coaching them. Why wouldn't you have a giant guy catch a
That is
touchdown
true.
pass?
That guy,
Good point.
number 94. That's awesome. I got to admit. Now they should have probably guarded him a little bit, but that was pretty cool.
You know what? I'm going to agree with you.
Yeah, you
on
like that?
one.
You
Good
like
take.
that? I got plenty of those coming. We got 3.5 hours left. Plenty of those.
I look forward to it.
Oh,
What part of the show are you going to praise Nebraska?
Well, I don't know. Maybe
Okay,
maybe
so
we
3.5 hours.
maybe
of
we need to set aside a segment to just say, here's what's good.
He has many good things.
The card
to say
section
in the
was
notes.
creative. Good. Now we're back to
That
what do we
was
do with
good.
Tony White?
That was good, and it was well orchestrated
Did
and
you
well done.
see the cards
Yeah, some
where they
cards.
did the cutout for the eyes?
Yeah. It was well done, well put together. Now we have those pictures live forever in a loss to Illinois on a Friday night where you blew it.
I thought we were getting like moving away from Friday night.
Well,
and
it
then-
just sucks. You had a 400th consecutive sellout as this great moment, and now it becomes like the Jano run. Remember when the
That's probably one of the more painful ones
Yeah,
because you
but look
felt
at it
like
this
that
way.
was going to be the
Look at it this way.
difference.
For people that think the sellout streak is fake, that Friday night didn't mean anything.
That's
That's
true.
true.
It's just a gathering of a bunch of people. That's what it was to them.
Would it have made it better if there was a blowout as opposed to another 1-score loss
No.
and another overtime dud?
It would not have.
No.
If
Probably.
Nebraska would have got blown out,
Yeah,
It
that's
would
probably
not.
true.
John and Josh would still be in the North Bottoms. They would have been so grateful that Severe Show started or we started to knock them off the air.
Yep. Sorry, we got to have severe reaction.
Michael says, what if I told you I think Colorado is better than we give them credit for? And if they would have ran the ball on us more and had a different game plan and preparation, they would have beaten us. Well, that seems like a lot of ifs,
That is.
Michael. The adjustments they made after us makes me think we would have truly lost to them with a different game plan.
But you didn't. And you still have a coach that's not going to have his team prepared as well.
Yeah, they still are not huge fans of running the ball, Michael. I mean, nothing really. No, I think Colorado's fine. I thought they were fine after Nebraska beat them. But
Yeah, what a difference a week makes. Last week we were talking about going to Orlando. Now we're going to actually go to New York City for Christmas, or we can go to
Pinstripe.
Detroit.
I love the Pinstripe Bowl. Let's
Pinstripe.
go. I'm excited.
Little Caesars.
I'm excited about
Where
the Pinstripe
does
Bowl.
Brett have
Not
this going?
Detroit. Not Detroit. Anywhere but Detroit. No quick lane bowl.
Brett McMurphy, Music City Bowl against LSU, where Nebraska's an 11-point dog.
Back to Nashville.
Love
He
it.
already has the
All
odds.
right.
Yeah.
Man, okay.
Well,
not messing
they're
around
missing
today.
one of the best defensive players in the country is out for the year.
That's
Mr.
right.
Perkins.
Yes.
He is pretty good.
He
Well, he
ain't
was.
Injury report, he ain't going to play for us.
He tore his ACL. It's sad. We don't like when that happens.
Duke is in the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
Oh, that's perfect.
Duke.
You got to have fun with these
That's
projections
pretty good.
sometimes. That would be great.
Kenneth says they could still be 6-1 going into Columbus. That is factually accurate.
In theory, yes, they could be.
And along the way, if you're going to be 6-1, you're going to play in this scenario, you may have 2 wins over ranked teams.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you got to beat Big Bad Indiana. You know how good they are.
Projected to be a 9-win team.
Have you heard, Connor?
Yeah, they're. Have you seen the teams that they've beaten?
But
They are incredible.
but
We're watching them right now
I mean-
against Charlotte.
Yeah, what a game that was. What a game. Indiana, very good.
why
People are
didn't you give
saying
them
this.
credit for that win? They beat a team
Because
that
their
has the-
coach was wearing.
Yeah, what was he wearing?
is
by the
the
Biff
way?
was
greatest-
in rare form.
He is the greatest dresser of any
Yeah.
football coach in college football today.
His name is Biff Poggi.
I don't even know what was that? What was
I don't know.
it's
What do you
like
expect? Anything
the
different? If your
collar
name
was
is-
gone.
It was a
If-
cutoff.
If your name is Biff
Homemade.
and you're coaching football, do you expect to be wearing a shirt and tie? No.
No,
Wear what you would be wearing if you were sitting in your boxers at home.
This guy.
and he did. He really did.
I don't know what that was on Saturday.
Yeah.
But he has definitely had some outfits.
It had
if
no
you go to Google
collar,
him.
but it looks like at one point it did have a collar, so it came down below like the neckline, and then were the sleeves cut off too?
Yeah,
Like they were coming up towards the shoulder.
Were their overalls? I was
There
confused.
was a lot of things
You
happening.
gotta stay on brand. Like I would like him. He's probably a guy when he got married. Nobody's wearing tuxes.
See, when he was
Nobody's
at,
wearing suits.
but when he was
wear
at
whatever
Michigan,
you want to my wedding.
when he was at Michigan, he was very put together.
Well,
you know?
it's because they
'Cause it's
weren't
required.
having any of that. Yes.
We haven't talked about the hat yet.
What the hat? What was the message on the hat?
It just didn't fit his head. Right.
No, he's
So not even big guy in little coat, but big guy in little
he's
hat.
like the former Brave pitcher Terry Forster.
Oh, nice.
It looked like
He does have a huge head.
it looked
Biff.
like something Huggy Bear would wear. If I can make a dated reference.
Like certain people who just when they wear a hat, they shouldn't wear a
Why
hat.
did he feel the need
it's bunching.
to
there it is.
hang the mic box
Well, that was
off
the
of
other.
his
Yes,
neck?
yeah, on the like in the sternum. That was the thing that confused me the most. Is I thought he was. I didn't even know what it was. I don't know what was going on.
That's his heart monitor.
I thought at some. Well, yeah, at some point I thought maybe he was like the photog, and that
Right
was
next to
like
Life
his.
alert.
Yeah, he's very unhealthy.
I thought that was like the extra film that he had for his camera
As
because he was
those
also
bosoms would
photogging.
indicate.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Pretty
Needs
good.
some support.
that
there.
hat
You-
definitely did not fit.
Do you think there's a chance on future schedules Illinois and Charlotte play each other?
Probably Bert and Biff.
You can call it the Booby Bowl.
the Bert Biff Classic.
And they probably both have wives where you go, man, you are over your skis. And they both go, I haven't seen my skis in a long time, but thank you.
That's tough. Hey, well, they didn't.
All right,
Charlotte
keep your
didn't.
chin up, kid.
I'm good.
You got an off day today with the Royals.
That is excellent news. Thank you.
To win the day.
Excellent news. All right, you guys have a great afternoon.
You too.
We're going to be positive today.
Okay.
That is the crossover powered by Everlevel Concrete
Unlikely.
Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. It's Monday. We'll start things off next.
That's the crossover. The Connor Happer Show is next on 1620 The Zone. It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620, The Zone.
All right, good morning and welcome in. Happy Monday. It's the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Odson with you.
Hello.
Hey, it's Josh. We got a lot of things to talk about, Josh. A lot of things to talk about.
Sure do.
Have you recovered?
Big things.
Do you feel any better? Did Dayton Rhiula's commitment just wash away all of the sins of Friday night?
Sure did.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm back up and running.
Absolutely. If anybody has a winning baseball team they'd suggest to me, I'd love to join. Love to hang out with you for a week here. I don't have the emotional capacity to care about the Royals this week. I didn't think I'd have to. I thought they'd be all cinched up by now, or at least they wouldn't need to play their butts off this week in order to get into the playoffs.
Rest your starters, get your rotation right.
The point being, Josh, and this is the point of the show, that the bars move. Things change depending on performances. And you take one thing at a time, I suppose. One game at a time. I guess that's what it needs to be for Nebraska now. After Friday night, we will, of course, dive into that. All of it. I have many questions, many thoughts, some big picture concerns, some small picture concerns, obviously just from the game. We would like to hear from you guys today on the show as well. 402-951-1620 on the 42 Degrees, the Source hotline. You can call or text that number, tweet at Happer Show, at Connor Happer on the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Birds on my timeline, call it Twitter.
That's right.
You can email Connor and Josh at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. And we say good morning to the YouTube streaming audience today. Hi.
Hello, friends.
1620 The Zone TV on YouTube, or conveniently located on a part of our website, zonetv.live. You could also go to 1620thezone.com. You could also go to 1620thezone.com and get registered for 4-quarter pick'em this week because you want to win money, yes?
I would love some money.
You can only get registered for 4-quarter pick'em right now if you are a subscriber of the 1620 the email, the subscribe today. So I'd probably get yourself all hooked up in that category, because if Nebraska's going to suck, then you might as well have $2,500. That's what I always say.
Refresh your browsers. I believe everything is up and running as it is supposed to be.
And our winner for this past weekend will be announced today at some point.
One of the Monday game, one of the games tonight, I believe.
That's
Jacksonville,
right. Okay.
Buffalo.
So probably looking at late tonight or tomorrow morning on that one.
Yeah.
Still coming down to the wire on that one.
Now I imagine a large swath of the base was eliminated when they picked Nebraska to beat Illinois.
You're not necessarily eliminated. You just have to have the best record.
Right.
You just took an L.
Yeah.
If you picked Nebraska to beat Illinois, maybe Nick Grimm put it in his picks. He's the smartest football guy out of all of us. Picking Illinois, not at all a contrarian.
No,
not at all. Definitely saw it coming. He just thought, I just like the way the Illini line up.
Like the cut of Bert's jib.
I just like the way they line up against each other. There's just some stuff in there that I assume that was.
Well, he was in the lab watching tape,
of
all
course.
22.
So he saw something that we all didn't. We all were blinded by. Coming up today on the show, Mike Schaefer will join. Sam, he'll join at the bottom of the 11 o'clock hour. Sam McKewon coming up at 1 o'clock. Matt Rhule's press conference today, a couple minutes after noon. We'll have our worst segment ever. We'll have our Big Ten report cards. And then, of course, for the next, we're about open for the next almost hour. So let's just start diving into this thing. We'll have a fresh start when we come back. I got a bunch of emails that I want to get to. By the way, the lineup is powered by the Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. And I guess let's get this out of the way before we do anything else. So apparently the Nebraska Crossing outlets are now rebranding to the Big Ten Crossing. Thoughts? Josh, you have many, I assume.
If only this human being had a history of lying to your face.
Well, you don't think he's gonna do it?
Gretna's going to get a hockey team. It's going to be right next to Big Lake, and well, you can park on Illinois Avenue, and there'll be plenty of parking in the Rutgers parking complex because
interesting.
And no natural disaster, whether it be man-made or God-made, will interfere with you getting a great deal on a Lego kit.
Interesting. I don't know who that was an impression of, Josh.
Just because a dumbass says something to to promote himself doesn't mean you have to listen and take the bait.
What if he's not lying? What if it's true?
Then, he got one right.
But
broken clock's right twice a day, Connor.
Yeah, but he announced it. He just said it out loud. He was like, "We're doing this."
He said Gretna would get an NHL team.
Yeah, but he wasn't like, we're pleased to announce today that the Phoenix Coyotes are moving to Gretna. He didn't say that because he didn't have the ability to say that because it wasn't true. But what he did say is that the Big Ten outlets are real and they're happening, and it's formerly known as Nebraska Crossing. He also said there was a lot of smart people at the Big Ten offices.
I would agree that there are a lot of smart people at the Big Ten offices.
I don't know, baby. Not sure I agree with that part.
I'm willing to plant my flag in the gonna have to see it before I believe it camp.
Yeah, okay. But it's not like this is an outlandish, like he's in charge of it, like he could actually do it.
He is in charge of it.
Yeah, but in order for
he's also in charge of that desolate piece of land at 72nd and Dodge.
Yeah.
Hey, can I have some more money?
Any update on that one? I haven't heard anything about the Crossroads in a while. Still a bit. So, yeah, Big Ten Crossing. We love the Big Ten. This is Big Ten country. It is where you cross to get to the rest of the Big Ten.
That's true.
You have to drive through here. If you're driving from the eastern side of the Big Ten to the western side of the Big Ten, you're best suited to drive right through the outlets.
An almost literal gateway to the west.
They should build an arch there. That's right. All right, here we go. Let's just take a break. We'll start it. Coming up next, I have many questions. What the hell? Why? Who do you think you are? Third and fourth down decision making. Kicking. What happened? What's going on? Why can't Nebraska? Why has it been 10 years since Nebraska had a kicker who could, first of all, not be injured, and second of all, just be able to kick? It's unbelievable. So I have many thoughts. We will, and then there's some like big picture stuff in here too. Do we need to move the bar? Do we need to change? What we originally thought about Nebraska's defense? The
bar of the goalpost should be lowered. Yes,
lower or widen
both.
Widen the posts. That would help a lot of things around.
I'm sorry, is that not what you were talking about?
That and the metaphorical bar needs to be changed, I think, a little bit as well. We'll discuss that when we return. I will get to your emails. I will get to your texts. I will get to your thoughts when we come back on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. we're back. All right, here we go. So Nebraska lost to Illinois on Friday, 31-24 in overtime.
Whoa, hold on. I was almost finished with it. Spoiler alert.
They lost to Illinois. Sorry, Josh. I told you way early.
You did.
I said you're not going to like this when you watch it back later on because you were being a company man and stepping in where needed.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, my son wrote your name over there.
I saw that. It looked like it was supposed. Well, and then there was a piece of paper with some hieroglyphics on it on my desk as well.
Oh, yes. He drew you a picture. I forgot about that.
So that's on there.
Yeah.
That's going to stay on there. I got a lot of things on my board that I put up there. Your son's note there's a lot of different things written on this board.
Oh,
now.
him and Peter are great friends now.
That's awesome. Who needs daycare?
That's right.
You got the Peter man.
There were so many people here on Friday night.
Nebraska extended their now nearly decade-long streak of not getting a first down in overtime by enduring a 3rd and 42 from their own 48-yard line or whatever it was in overtime.
Almost had
on
it.
Saturday night. But there was many things that happened that led to that point. So there's big picture and there's small picture, right? Small picture is the game itself, and big picture is, okay, what does this mean for the entire rest of the season? Is this big picture cause for concern in the trenches? I don't care if I have cause. I am concerned.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So now, going off of track record and going off of history and using the big picture ideology to apply to what you saw and then toward the rest of the season, I have some faith that Nebraska's defense can get into the bag a little bit. I think they've just been settled on being a bit vanilla in these first few games, thinking that they can win these kind of one-on-ones and create enough havoc by kind of playing it straight up, right? But I think teams are, the book is kind of out over these last couple games with the misdirections and Illinois. I think Illinois took a lot of what Northern Iowa did and just applied it to their own deal and it ended up having a lot of success. And Nebraska could not get off the field on Friday night. I tweeted this out after the game. I applied it to my drive chart, and it's made that look a lot worse. So Nebraska forced 2 fumbles on Friday night. They had the John Bullock great play, punch out.
What a play!
I mean, he's been fantastic this year. That guy should get his flowers for sure. And then the Sierra Wright, the actor, Sierra Wright, strip sack, fumble at a time where, man, they desperately needed that turnover and they got it. And that's when the game was really pretty out of control.
He had a pretty good game.
He was good filling in for Tommy Hill. Yeah. I agree. There was a lot of good individual stuff actually in this game. Outside of those 2 drives for Illinois, here's how the rest of the game went.
Oh, no.
6 plays for 78 yards, touchdown. 8 plays for 62 yards, field goal. 9 plays, 50 yards, turnover on downs. 9 plays, 37 yards, punt. 11 plays, 57 yards, touchdown. 9 plays, 75 yards, touchdown. 8 plays, 31 yards, punt. And then you had the overtime drive, which was 2 plays and 25 yards. Nebraska looked completely discombobulated in not those 2 plays as well. Totally. I don't know if they were misaligned, but that was going to happen just by watching it back. So that is 8.6 plays per drive when you take out the overtime drive, the 2 fumble drives, and then 1 end of half kneel down. Nebraska's defense has 8 3-and-outs on the season through 4 games. 7 of them were in the first 2 weeks.
Okay.
And 6 of them, I believe, were in the first week. Something. I'd have to go back and check that one for sure. 8 3-and-outs of the season. 7 of them were in the first 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks of what has happened to Nebraska's defense, not being able to get off the field, is a trend, and it's pretty alarming. Illinois on 3rd downs, 7 of 13. They had their way. And so you ask the question, what happened? What happened to Nebraska's perceived strength of being able to stop the run? I said going into the game, and I didn't have much dissension on this. Illinois was a team that had been not so good running the ball so far on the year. Hadn't shown that they could do it consistently. And so I think Nebraska's defense is going to be able to be just fine. They're going to be able to control the game that way. And boy, did they not. 39 carries for 166 yards for Illinois as a team. But more than that, they were getting what they wanted to get. They were getting into third and shorts, and then they were getting what they wanted off of that. Fegan, 12 carries for 69 yards. McCray, 9 carries. Those are big backs, by the way. Big backs, big horse. 9 carries for 38 yards for McCray. And then Altmaier was sacked just twice. One of them was the strip sack fumble. And he even ran a couple himself as well. Then
he had the game of his life.
They were just so on schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is where the moving of the bar comes back. Do we need to, I was starting to think Nebraska's defense was going to be the thing that dictates games for them, right? They're in control. And really what we saw last year when Nebraska's defense was having so much success was that it was a bit of a bend but don't break defense. They always kind of came up big at the end of the drives. They didn't get too many turnovers, but they were pretty solid, and they really, really made you work to drive it down the field. Well, in the case of Friday night, they worked to drive it down the field, and then they finished most of those drives. So maybe there's something in there where Nebraska can dial up some more pressure and create some more havoc and get some more turnovers. But once again, it's a little boomer bust for my like. It's a little boomer bust for my like. You can't let them drive all the way down the field with soft coverage and, playing straight up on the defense and then not get a turnover at the end of it. Mm-hmm. Right. And that's what happened most of the time. The 2 times they did get a turnover were gigantic plays in the football game. A little reliant on the explosive. And so maybe there's some buttons that you could press that changes that. I just think we maybe have to think about that defense a little bit. What's it going to be going forward? And does the bar need to be maybe lowered to back where it was before the season? Because I remember the conversations we were having in the preseason, Josh. It was like, are we sure Nebraska's defense could be better than it was last year? And then the first 2 games happened, and we're like, yeah, it is better. It is better. And now I'm not so sure.
They played with their hair on fire so much. And, obviously the first game, they were excited to be there. Colorado, they were excited to be there. And, kind of week in, week out, it doesn't look like those big games, quote unquote.
I don't think this is like panic time yet for that side of the ball, but it's certainly an alarming trend, what has happened over the last couple weeks. I think you go into the bag and you'll be able to get that straightened out and make it work for yourself. Now, we flip over to the offense, and we'll dive into the granular details of all this stuff in a little bit. We're on the big picture for now. Offensively, I've seen a lot of people being, talking about Satterfield and all this stuff on Friday night. First of all, I don't really get that. We could talk about what happened on 3rd down and what happened on 4th down when you got a chance to ice it in the 4th quarter or go ahead in the 4th quarter.
We said all season, if they win, it's because of Dylan. If they lose, it's because of Sadie.
I guess so. I guess that did play itself out on Friday night, didn't it? But I wonder. I just think you're in a really dangerous spot. Not like from a production standpoint. I think they trust Dylan, and he's shown it. Like he is so good. He can make all these throws, and I think you want to put the ball in his hands when the game is on the line. And they did so on Friday night on the 3rd down, and he just missed the throw, right? And that's going to happen from time to time. But the way that game ended up being late in the 3rd and into the 4th quarter was that you were kind of putting a lot on his shoulders. And that's the precursor to the exact thing that we don't want, right? Which is putting too much on his shoulders, and then all of a sudden it starts to kind of implode and crumble from the outside in. You don't want him to be holding the entire offense up. And in order for that to not be the case, Nebraska needs a run game. They need a run game. Now, the total stats on Friday night ended up being 33 carries for 48 yards. But for the running backs in particular, it was 24 carries for 89 yards. Dowdell and Ramir Johnson. It was not pretty. They couldn't really do much.
I knew it wasn't going to be good when you read the numbers because I watched the game.
Yeah. So I just wonder if they're like
worse.
So if we're looking big picture here, defensively, I think there's some buttons you can press. I think there's options, right? I think there's things that you can do. Not necessarily, we're not necessarily talking about personnel, but we're talking about adjustments that you can kind of make going forward. I think they have that in their golf bag somewhere. Offensively, are there answers there? Does Nebraska have the answers on hand to be able to be good enough in the run game to not do what undid them on Friday? Part of what undid them on Friday night. That is a little bit more of a tricky question. A little bit more of a tricky question. Because we wondered about the run game all offseason. Mm-hmm. Is the offensive line good enough? Are the running backs good enough? And gosh, if there was a way that you could like combine Ramir Johnson and Dante Dowdell, combine their like skill sets together, then you probably do have a pretty good running back. But that's not a thing right now. That technology does not exist to us.
Get to work on that, Rod.
And so where you're trending toward, and maybe Purdue is the get right game because they have been running leaky.
Bad.
Oregon State ran for over 350 yards on them this weekend. All right.
On News Nation, where that game started.
Is that where it was? Really?
That was the overflow channel for the CW.
Yeah. So they've been leaky. Notre Dame did obscene things to them a couple weeks ago. So maybe this is just a get right game and Nebraska can get it done on the ground and they can run it and they feel good about themselves and then we continue on. Or maybe not. I just don't want it to trend toward this pass heavy offense because then you get really dangerous and that starts looking bad for you long term. With that being said, Nebraska's wide receivers are pretty good. Dylan Raiola's one interception again this week was stolen away by a player in the end zone on the other team.
Who has two simultaneous catches in a season?
Yeah. It's pretty absurd. It's pretty absurd. But man, I mean, if you want a positive takeaway, here it is. Like he is so good. I mean, he is so good. It's insane to watch these layered throws that he makes, the way he looks off defenders, and even when it gets moving for him a little bit. Now the problem, he is so good, but the problem is their second to last drive of regulation, he fumbles twice, and it was like, what the hell happened? And then on the final drive on the third down, he just missed. He missed, or Lindenmeyer didn't run the route well enough. Whatever you want to blame it on, but Dylan will tell you over and over again, and I think he's right. He's got to make that throw. You got a guy streaking wide open for a touchdown. Whatever, you adjust to it, right? However he's running his route. So there's big picture, and I think that's the big picture. That's what it looks like looking forward for Nebraska. I think it's scary times. I think I'm not pressing the panic button, but you're definitely on watch for some things officially that you were thinking about being on watch for last week. And now you're like, oh boy, this has got to be good now. Otherwise I fall into something where you don't want to go. And so that's the big picture. And the small picture, we could talk about that. We'll do that next. Like the decision making, as far as the play calling is concerned, and what to do in specific situations, and who was good, who was bad, and all of those things. So we could do that. I want to get to what you guys are thinking as well. So I got some emails here, Josh.
Emails.
Yeah, emails.
Equitable Bank inbox.
Equitable Bank. Yes.
Equitable.
Zach, this game is the perfect illustration of why Bielema has been at the top of my list for Nebraska's last 3 coaching searches. He is an elite Big Ten coach who knows how to win games in the conference, and he maximizes the potential of players on his team. Also, as long as Satterfield is the OC at Nebraska, they will not win games because of him, but if they win, it will be in spite of him. Both drives that Nebraska had to settle for a field goal were absolutely pathetic. Weak-minded, patty cake play calling. The first field goal drive reiterated that Satterfield isn't a very good Big Ten OC when he got the first and goal from the 5-yard line, but he decided to pass the ball on second, third down, then to settle for a field goal. Then again in the fourth quarter, when his play calling led to Nebraska settling for another field goal. When you're at the 5 or closer with multiple downs, run the damn ball. Satterfield is a play calling, is not for Big Ten football. Hey, man, like, Zach, I'll go.
In the spirit,
they can't run it. They didn't feel like they could run it.
In the spirit of things, you are correct, but I
want them to run it.
Yeah, I don't think they can, and also put the ball in your best player's hands. That's the quarterback.
I heard people over the weekend say, what are you doing with all those guys on third down and you're trying to run some kind of complicated play with 4 reads or whatever it is? First of all, it was open and it should have been a touchdown. Second of all, you want to know why they didn't run it? Because they didn't feel like they could get 3 yards. It's simple. You have to understand what your team can and cannot execute in crucial moments of the game. And I know they did not want to kick that field goal. They did not want to kick that field goal. And so they wanted to score, and they wanted to get at least 3 yards. But more importantly, I think they wanted to score a touchdown. And they felt like they could put it all together on that play, and it was there, and it gets completed 90 out of 100 times or 95 out of 100 times, whatever it is. And it just didn't on that one. But if you're sitting here like, hey, they should have ran it, it's just it's hindsight, because they didn't feel like they could. It wasn't go. If they would have ran it, it would have ran it into a brick wall, wouldn't have got the first down, kicked the field goal, and theoretically missed anyway. They
might never kick another field goal again.
They shouldn't. And so we can talk about what they decided to do on fourth down. I'm fine with taking the field goal on that. But it didn't work out. You have to have some sort of trust in your kicker, and maybe they don't have that anymore. Maybe now you know. Maybe it's gone. Here's Chris on the Equitable Bank inbox.
Hi, Chris.
Nebraska's season is the subject line. I know this may be an overreaction, but are we sure?
Sounds like we're headed that way. Yes.
This is a team that can win over 6 games this year.
Oh my God.
Besides Purdue, UCLA, and Wisconsin, there's a high chance they lose every other game. No push in the offensive line leading to a subpar run game, and the D getting carved like Swiss cheese doesn't bode well for our upcoming schedule. Indiana, USC, Ohio State seem very competent on offense, and the defense plays like it did on Friday. Those games could be ugly. Iowa and Rutgers are tough because they'll be physical. I am worried we're in for a rough time. Where do I find the tape? Or where do I find the hope, rather? Thank you, Chris. You find the hope in like Nebraska has this overwhelming thing where they were pretty dang good on defense last year, and they ended up being a really physical unit by the end of the year. And they have shown at times this year that they can be a physical unit. So you take solace in that, and you say, man, I think they can it's in there somewhere. They can get back to it. You can be worried, but this is not press the big red button panic explosion time. I want to be very clear about that.
Yeah.
We're mad. You should be mad. Nebraska let one slip, and it was most of their own undoing.
Mm-hmm.
And that is painful. That hurts, because we're going to talk about the mental thing a little bit later in the program, and it's not gone yet. It's not gone, right? So that crops back up here.
Even our tiny baby boy, Dylon, is susceptible to the mental thing.
But they don't suck. Right?
No.
They don't suck.
No.
And they have a very good quarterback.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the hope. I mean, it's not that hard to find. You shouldn't be like, I'm on the edge and I'm gonna go, right? No, it's not that time yet. All right. There might not be a time for that.
Never a time for that, Connor.
There's never a time for that. Yes, actually, that's a good way to put it. Let's go to the phones. Here is Trent on the 42 Degrees of Source hotline. Trent, good morning.
Good morning. So I've been listening to the conversation regarding the 3rd and 3.
Yeah.
And what we should have done there. I don't hate throwing the ball in that situation but I think, when they talk about the NFL game and NFL coaches and stuff like that, most of them will say, if you're going to throw in that situation on 3rd and 3, you're going on 4th and 3. Like, there's no field goal being had. I mean, the Eagles just found out why a few weeks ago. The problem I have, though, and I heard you all say it just a few minutes ago, is that they didn't believe they could get 3 yards running the ball on 3rd and 3. Both of our running backs averaged more than 3 yards a carry.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why we would think why would you think we couldn't? Dowdell was 3-point something, and Ramir Johnson was over 4. So I don't understand the logic of saying, well, we couldn't get 3 yards running it because we're running it so poorly. It's not in the stats.
Right.
So I think we're still at 6 wins. I don't give us any more than 6.
Okay. Yeah.
I think we're there.
Trent, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Let me go back. So let's look at that. Let's look at that drive where Nebraska got it to 3rd and 3 and then to 4th and 3. Because somebody else just asked me about the same thing. Dowdell got 4 on first down all the way back, starting at the 38-yard line. Then got 2. Then they hit a 5-yard pass. Then they hit an 11-yard pass. Then they hit a 5-yard run. Then they hit a 7-yard run.
7.
And then went backwards 2 yards on first down on the play where Dowdell, just had it was pretty point blank bad vision. Like he tried to bounce it all the way outside, and he needed to cut it back and get 2 yards out of that instead of lose 2. Then they got a pass to Banks, and then they got it to 3rd and 3. And that's where that play happened. I agree with the first point that Trent made about it doesn't necessarily match up, right? If you're throwing it and you're going for a touchdown, then you're probably going to go for a touchdown on both of the plays and not kick the field goal, right? I will hear that point. I am, let's say this. I am more convicted. I have more confidence in what they did on 3rd down than I do of what they did on 4th down. You could convince me that they shouldn't have kicked it on the 4th down. But you drew up a play and you had it in your back pocket. Now, people are also saying, why you had none of your best playmakers on the field on the 3rd down play either. And I think that was to kind of make it look like, all right, we're going to run it. And it worked, right? It worked. They schemed a play to get open, right? That's what a good offensive coordinator does. They schemed a good play to get open, and he was open, and they missed. So I don't know what you do there. Like I am okay. I'm very okay with what they did actually on 3rd down. You could really convince me what they ended up doing on 4th down. Obviously, hindsight's 20/20. They missed the field goal. But you could convince me that they didn't need to kick the field goal there. They should have just gone for it and played it out that way.
Do what the Atlanta Falcons do.
Do what the Atlanta Falcons do, Josh? That sounds like a horrible piece of advice.
They didn't kick the field goal either time last night.
Yeah.
And lost.
Yeah. So you're saying it works?
No.
Okay. It does not work. Mark Mack writes in on YouTube.
Hi, Mark Mack.
There are 8 games left. People need to ride the wave a little bit. They'll keep improving during the season. Yeah, I think so.
Mad Piper NE on YouTube.
Yeah.
Josh calling Dylon our darling baby boy is so condescending. Josh and Connor have been waiting to trash talk the Huskers.
What? I'm angry today. No, I'm not. Our darling baby boy is very complimentary. We have to protect him at all costs.
Yes.
He is very meaningful to the future of this program, and it turns out the present of this program.
And the future, because his brother's coming.
And the future of the future.
Yes.
Yes. Let's go back to the phones here. Here's Kevin on the 42 Degrees of Source hotline. Hey, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
Hey, guys. Great Monday show as always, man. You guys do a great job. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Kevin.
Hey, you know what? I think as you look at this, I think White's going to answer the call this weekend. I think he's going to make this thing right the way that it should be. I really think he's going to answer the call. So I think the defense is definitely going to get back on track. Maybe they should just believe too much of the press. But, I guess the thing that I'm concerned about is you got 2 great tight ends. And it just seems like we're putting so much pressure on this freshman quarterback to deliver everything. Right now, offensively, when you look at it, he's leading the team in everything as far as just being able to lead this team as a captain and a leader without being a captain.
Yeah.
And I think, why not do a 2 tight end set? You got Carter, you got Fedoni on one side. You can still do some wide outs. And you know what? When his progression downfield is not there, throw it to one of the 2 guys. Because maybe that's what should have been happening if they wanted to throw the ball in overtime. But really, they should have been rushing the ball and just kind of looking at what kind of set, Illinois was doing. I don't think we were even prepared I don't know what the overtime speech was about trying to win this game. I guess that's what surprises me because the defense looked flat, the offense looked flat, and but I think we're putting too much on Rhule. When a freshman throws for almost 300 yards, has one interception because a defensive back takes the ball from a receiver who should have held on to the ball. That's not his fault. But when I saw the press conference on him, he's sitting there taking ownership of this loss. That is not right. The other players just said, we need to go back and win another game and just take one game at a time and win it better. That is unacceptable to have a freshman take the blame and everybody else is just talking about getting better. I just want to know what your aspects are on that.
Yeah. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate the call. I think, sorry to cut you off there, but thank you. I think he was done. That's just being a good quarterback, right? That's just being a good, he's not actually, maybe he is. He's actually he's saying, look, when we lose games and we lose them close, we all need to do things better. And you go back and you replay the stuff in your mind and you take ownership of it and you think, yeah, I could have done this and I could have done that and I could have made that throw. Obviously, he could have made that throw, or the one to Nair, in the corner that got taken away by the other guy. Maybe that could have put it up a little higher or whatever it was. I mean, that's just what you do.
He's got to be sick watching the Lindemeyer throw.
Yeah. Right. That I don't think he's actually I don't think this is going to hurt his confidence or anything like that. The thing about Dylan and playing quarterback, and Kevin was asking about the tight ends and whatever. He is so, and this is going to sound weird, I guess, but he's so robotic in going through his progressions. The ball is going to go to the right guy almost every single time. The ball is going to go to the right guy. And it doesn't matter who's there, right? That's why you see the ball get spread around the way that it does. So it's not like, I have to go find a tight end on this because we got to get the tight end going. That's up to the offensive coordinator to design something that gets to that point and that works in specific situations. Not to force it in, right? Not to spoon feed them, but all right, let's get something working for these guys. It all kind of works off each other. I think we could talk about Dylan coming back, and I want to get to more of your guys' thoughts because there's a lot more that we can get to on YouTube and on the text line as well. Mike Schaefer's coming up at the bottom of the hour. We'll see how he's feeling. Sam McKewon's coming up at 1. Matt Rhule will talk at noon. I am intrigued. I'm intrigued. What yesterday looked like, what Saturday looked like, what's today look like, what's the attitude. So we'll come back with more on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, ZZ Top is bringing the Elevation Tour right here to the Metro.
Hell yeah.
October 1st at Liberty First Credit Union Arena. That is a week from tomorrow.
Synergy.
It is also Jimmy Carter's 100th birthday.
Hello. Will he be there?
I don't think so. I don't want to make those guarantees.
Poll question?
Sure. And we have tickets. And we're going to start giving them away this week. ZZ Top. Let's get it rocking. You can check out 1620thezone.com for more details. Back to the phones we go to talk about Nebraska losing to Illinois.
Or your Jimmy Carter takes.
What do you, Matt? I find the array of things that people are angry about today to be pretty wide, which means a lot of things went wrong for Nebraska to lose that game. So let's find out what Nathan's up to. Hi, Nathan. A lot of things went wrong. Okay. Nathan, turn down your radio.
Yeah, hey guys.
Yeah. Here we go. What's going on?
Sorry, just turned it down. I got a question and 3 points. I'll just rattle them off and let you guys take it. First of all, how much did losing Tommy Hill in the first half hurt our defense in the second half to where, they just kind of fell apart? Second question would be, if we have a competent kicker, do we win that football game? And then I'd like people to talk about the personnel that were on the field for that third down.
Yeah.
We didn't have any of our A-list guys out there. I believe it was 84. I can't remember his name. Liebentritt and
Lindenmeyer.
And the gentleman. Yeah. So I didn't understand that. And, I think Satterfield's got a lot of explaining to do as far as that goes and just some of his play calls. I'll hang up and listen.
Thanks, Nathan. Appreciate the call. Okay, so let's do it in order if we can. I always have a hard time remembering the 3 layered calls, but we got Tommy Hill, we got kicker, we got personnel on the third down.
Yes.
All right. So for the answer to the first question is no. I don't think Nebraska missed Tommy Hill that badly.
They seemed very tired is the problem, not body or scheme.
Was it because Tommy Hill went out? No. I think Bert had a plan to wear him down, and they did. Mm-hmm. By golly, they did. But Sear Wright made one of the biggest plays of the game. His replacement. He was
the actor?
Sear Wright, the actor. Yes. I don't think Nebraska, not to say that he's not important, but I don't think Nebraska missed him that badly. Just
not something one man could have fixed.
That's probably a better way to put it.
Because people think we're negative. You gotta.
No, this is positive. I don't like it's a great thing. If Nebraska feels like they could play Sierra right and he could be a fill-in for Tommy, I don't know what Tommy's. It's plantar fasciitis. He said on Friday night. So I don't know. Is that going to keep him out this week? Is that going to keep him out 2 weeks? We'll find out probably in about a half hour here. But no, I didn't feel like it was that big of a deal. 2, kicker. And what was the question? Is there a kicker? Can we find a kicker?
If Nebraska has a competent kicker, do they win that game? That was the question.
I don't know that you could say that. So let's say they make the field goal. And they're up 27-24. And at that point in the game, there is my computer is frozen at the moment, so I can't pull that up. All right.
Looking for the play-by-play. Okay.
Yeah.
Missed field goal. What do you want to know?
How much time was there left when Nebraska missed the field goal?
When Nebraska missed the field goal, 2:59.
I mean, I don't know. They gotta stop there.
Mm-hmm.
Coming back, obviously, to send it into overtime. So Illinois they started the drive at their own 21. After the missed field goal, ran for 9 yards, then got stuffed, then had an 8-yard pickup on third down. Singleton got hurt. Then another run for 6, short pass for 7, another first. They got a couple first downs there. They were kind of I don't know that you could say that in all certainty. Would it have helped for Nebraska to have a 3-point lead with 3 minutes left and put their defense on the field to try? Yeah, so
Sure.
obviously
Would have loved to have seen it.
you'd like to make field goals rather than missed field goals. But yeah, I don't know that I could say that definitively. It's a huge deal. They're chasing 3 after all. It's a huge deal to have a kicker. They're going to wish they had one at many, many points this year. But I mean, they're at the point that I'm more intrigued in what that means for like the psyche of what you're doing on offense, right? You have to feel like if you're the offense right now that you got to score a touchdown. I don't know what Ohana's situation is. I saw him in the pregame. He was out there. He was wearing a uniform. He was not kicking. Yes, he was not kicking like full kicks, but he was doing little chippy warm-ups. You know, he almost hit me with one of them, but that was my fault. I was in the way.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, he's hurt, right? So then you got to put in hole, and you know, you hope that he can knock down a 30 whatever yarder. Wasn't able to do it. I'm more intrigued in what that means for the offensive psyche going forward. Like, if you're the offensive coordinator, you're thinking, all right, 4th and 2 from the 26, we're going. Let's just go. Because we got to score. And you combine that with a leaky defense, all of a sudden, that's a bad combo. Topic number 3, personnel. Topic alert. All right, so Nebraska's players on the field on 3rd and 3.
Listen up, everybody.
They were not named the following people: Jamal Banks, Isaiah Nair, Jalen Lloyd, Ja'Cory Barney, Thomas Fedoni.
I know those names.
You do, and none of those people were on the field. People who were on the field: Nate Borkircher, Alex Bullock, Luke Lindenmeyer, Barrett Liebentritt. You were trying to say, we are running. By personnel, you were trying to say, we are running. We're going to plow ahead and get a 3rd down. And they threw it out of it, and they got a wide open receiver. Like, does it work if it's Thomas Fedoni instead of Luke Lindenmeyer trying to catch the ball? I don't know for sure, but they're probably thinking, okay, this guy's not normally in on the run block sets. Like, something's up here. What's going on? I can't guarantee you that it does. I can't guarantee you that it doesn't. I just think when you get the result of that play, it worked. Like, it worked. They just missed it. And there's a lot of reasons why they missed it, in my opinion, but they just missed it. So I can't be too critical of that because it worked.
Yeah, the play worked.
It worked.
The throw was off.
Right. The throw was off, or the route was off.
Sure.
Or the route was not being run well enough. I don't know for sure, but it was it worked. Sorry, you were about to get to a comment.
Fremont Fred pretty much echoes what you said.
What's up
on Twitter?
Fremont.
Not
Shout
having
out to Fremont.
A-list receivers out there on that 3rd down was actually what created the tight end being wide open and was a chess play by Sat.
I can't say that for sure, but I think that's right.
I don't question that at all, like some that blame the refs for the loss. The D cost us that game as a whole unit.
That's where I'm at. That's a good summation of where I'm at.
Someone in the chat.
What's up, chat? Fire emojis in the chat.
Ken, why are people giving Tony White a pass? Offense scored 24 against a really good defense, leading the nation in takeaways.
Why are people giving Tony White a pass? Oh, no. Let's be very clear. The defense was bad. The defense cost Nebraska the game.
Yeah.
The defense should not have cost Nebraska the game. It is a group that we had very high expectations for, and it is quite confounding that it was not better.
I don't know what to do.
On Friday night.
I wasn't worried about them one iota before Friday. Now I don't know what to think.
Right. So he gets a pass because of the history. He doesn't get a pass for that game. That was bad. The defense lost them the game. Absolutely. And the offense did exactly what they now, once again, can you run the ball? Right. Still a question. I don't want to be in a situation where you're putting it all on Dylan Raiola's shoulders, but clearly he can handle it. Clearly he's good enough. Right. But I don't need this thing becoming a pass heavy offense. That's kind of the point here. Jeff writes on the text line.
Hi, Jeff.
He says, Sean Callahan had a good point. In the NIL era, a place like Nebraska to not have a kicker is ridiculous. A place like anywhere to not have a kicker in any era is ridiculous. How do they keep having kickers who get hurt? It makes no sense to me.
You're a Power 4 school. Your kicker shouldn't be an issue.
It just, I don't know. It's just, it has to be just bad luck, I guess. They just can't. The last time the kicker thing went off the rails was 2019, and they used about 40 of them that year because the first guy who we liked from his freshman year, Barrett Pickering, got hurt.
That's right.
He got hurt. How does a kicker get hurt? I don't know.
Are you skipping leg day? Are you working too hard on leg day? What's going on over there?
Alex Lincoln says that Dylan Rhule heard us calling him baby boy and was aiming for us when he threw that ball on third down.
He was aiming for Omaha.
He aimed the wrong way. I was way upstairs.
Oh.
He would have had to have Der Wiener Schlinger to get it up there.
You saying Dylan doesn't have a cannon? You saying he couldn't hit you from up there?
Could he throw it from like the 30-yard line all the way up to like the glass? That's pretty far away.
Let's find out.
Sounds like a bit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're back. We have plenty going on here. There's also a poll question up.
There is at Happer Show on Twitter.
Would you like to read that, Josh?
I would. Will former president Jimmy Carter be at Liberty First Credit Union Arena on his 100th birthday, October 1st, to see ZZ Top?
Please vote. It's very important.
Very important.
Mike Schaefer is up next on 1620 The Zone.
Here come the Guardians.
Yeah, I have statistics to back up that we have people that listen.
Mike Schaefer.
Anytime there's sort of a debate as to who can do something, Happer would always put his name forth.
For sure.
Husker 24/7 on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
I could be a star.
Well, the Open starts off with a Viking horn. Mike Schaefer likely in a different place from a sports perspective than I am this morning, as his Vikings might be the best team in the NFL, and the Guardians, of course, will win the World Series. Hi, Schaefer.
How are we doing?
Bad.
Good. Real quickly, non-sports related. You know how there's like always the people in your life who get really fired up around this time of year because it's like chili season or soup season. You know, like we had a little bit of cold weather yesterday. People can't wait to get that stuff out. Can I just say, for me, it's crock pot season. I'm standing over a slow cooker meal right now, and I am so fired up about what it's going to be at like 7:30 tonight.
So
fantastic.
What is it going to be at 7:30 tonight?
We are having garlic parmesan chicken pasta this evening.
Hell yeah!
Chicken breast going in. Currently trying to get this bottle of Parmesan garlic sauce to get dumped into the
from Buffalo Wild Wings
slow cooker. Yes, it is.
That stuff is pretty multi-purpose. I have a couple bottles on deck right now as well. I put it on a lot of stuff.
A couple bottles. Are you a multiple? So here's where I fail as a sauce person. I only really ever have one unless it's like ketchup or ranch, and I buy those in bulk at like Sam's Club. Otherwise, when stuff runs out, I am like in total panic mode mid-meal. It's usually just poor preparation on my end.
Yeah, so I can't be trusted to go to the grocery store and go into the sauces and spices aisle and not spend like $40 on like one-off stuff. So I went to Costco and they had those garlic Parmesan Buffalo Wild Wings things, and I thought that would tie me over for a long time to keep me out of the sauces and spice aisle at Hy-Vee.
Yeah, well, it
worked.
is a great sauce, and this is going to be an excellent pasta. And as fired up as I was about everything yesterday, I might be more fired up about what I'm about to eat.
Wow. Which is better, the Guardians winning the Super Bowl or Mike Schaefer's garlic pasta tonight?
Guardians winning the Super Bowl, or the Vikings winning the Super Bowl, Guardians winning the World Series, or this pasta?
Okay.
The pasta is going to provide me the most immediate enthusiasm. The pasta more likely isn't going to break my heart. The pasta won't strike out with runners on third with no outs. The pasta won't try an ill-advised shovel pitch that probably could have turned the fate of that game early in the first quarter. Both the Guardians and the Vikings being significantly better than I anticipated in 2024 is a fantastic development. But I just don't know that I trust either one of them when the chips are down. I'm just trying to enjoy it. Yesterday was fantastic. You don't see a lot of 34-7 wins in the NFL. CJ Stroud looked bad.
Yeah.
For one of the few times in his career. And it's always sort of fun to have the surprise team, but I just don't know that I believe it.
So we all are suckers for immediate satisfaction. You with your pasta, people with Nebraska football. Have you found yourself having to move the goalposts, move the bar a little bit over the last couple of days? Like, did the loss on Friday night from the offensive perspective or the defense? Well, I guess more so the defensive perspective. Did it center you? Did it bring you back to earth on what this group could be this year?
I don't know that it centered me. Here's sort of the problem. I look at Friday night and I see it as Nebraska did not play a good game in definitely two of the three phases, and really in parts on offense it wasn't particularly good either. Mm-hmm. Yet they still very much had the opportunity to win the game. It felt like a lot of judgment sort of calls and decisions went against them, so they were maybe unlucky in that regard as well. And yet they still had the ball on a 3rd and 3 from the 19-yard line or whatever it was, with an opportunity to go ahead, and the pass just missed Luke Lindenmeyer. I mean, there's a lot to be unhappy about with how Nebraska played on Friday.
but I don't think it's the sort of thing that I expect to see happen, each of the rest of the games this season. Like I think we saw from Dylan Rhule that their margin for error, they could be a sloppy, poor team on Friday and still had a chance to beat an Illinois team that's solid. Like, that was a solid team that they lost to. That wasn't a bad team. That was a better team than some of the teams they lost to in November of last year. And really, frankly, they could have and should have won that game. So I kind of look at it like I didn't think Nebraska was going to be undefeated going to face Ohio State. I didn't think they were really going to be part of the college football playoff conversation. So realistically, if they go and beat Purdue, I was the same guy who had them at 4-1 after 5 weeks. I don't see a reason to just hit the panic button. I think, college football, you're going to lose some games. This team is still learning how to do some things correctly. And they had an off night on Friday. I don't want to make it much more than that. Now, do I have long-term concerns? And was there stuff that popped up and with Matt Rhule and sort of these close losses? Yeah.
Yep.
But I'm willing to let the season kind of play out a little bit more. Frankly, I want to get to that Rutgers game, get past Purdue. That Rutgers game, I think if the same sort of thing plays out, then I might have a lot more concern moving forward.
One thing that I don't know, Schaefer, you'd probably agree with this. I guess we'll check first. Like, I was pretty sure that Nebraska's defense was going to be able to be really like borderline elite against the run this year. However, that would happen. And the last 2 weeks in particular, it simply really hasn't been. So I don't know what we do with that information, given that at the end of last year, I mean, it was really, really good. Like, what buttons can Nebraska press defensively to get things going up front a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of credit goes to Illinois' offensive coordinator. They kept Nebraska off balance. It felt like whenever Nebraska thought Illinois was going to run, they were getting hit with a pass. Whenever Nebraska thought Illinois was going to pass, they were able to steal 5-6 yards. And then, the backbreaker in overtime where they just had numbers to the left side. I mean,
yep.
I think you were down on the field level, sitting up at the press box. Before the snap, you saw that Nebraska was completely outnumbered to their own sideline. And so it just felt, kind of academic that Illinois was going to be able to run and have success on that particular play. So they were just out of sorts a little bit. I don't know that it's going to be a dominant run defense. I think the last couple of weeks have shown they've had more difficulty stopping the run than maybe what we anticipated. But I think they can be better, certainly, than what they were each of the last 2 weeks. How it gets better is kind of the interesting question. Do they want to commit an extra player up front in some of these formations? Can Tony White get a little exotic? Can they trust their back end to not make mistakes? I mean, for as bad as the run game defense was, I think what killed Nebraska was their safety play. The safety play was bad in run fits. It was bad against the play action. It was bad in coverage. I expected Deshaun Singleton, Malcolm Hartzog, Isaac Gifford to play better than they did. And on Friday night, I mean, that was more of a position group as you had on the defensive side. I think there'll be a lot of focus on what the line did and didn't get done. But I think they got hurt more in the back end on both the pass and the run than maybe what happened up front. I mean, some of those run fits were really, really bad. They just were not in the right spot.
Offensively, Schaefer, is there something that Nebraska could do outside of the simple answer, which is, of course, running the ball better, to be able to not turn this into an offense that is too reliant on Dylan Rhule? It feels like that's the way that we're trending right now, and I wonder if Nebraska has the pieces to make it work in the run game.
Yeah, I think they do some things. One of the things that surprised me a little bit about Friday, and it would be maybe a criticism of Satterfield, is it didn't feel like they adjusted enough to what Illinois was doing in the box. They were hunting to go downfield, and they had a lot of success with it. Finished with 297 yards and 3 touchdowns. So it's hard to fault much of that. But it also felt like at times they didn't have a lot of quick passing throws. They didn't have a lot of short options. It felt like they needed a longer route to develop, and that's where they were going to attack. Where was some of the underneath stuff? Where is the tight end right now in this offense? Thomas Fedoni had one nice catch over the middle of the field, otherwise largely invisible the rest of the game. where is some of the quick throws that you can get to Ja'Cory Barney in the second half when Illinois' pass rush has gotten a little bit better, and you have Gunnar Gatula now at left tackle? I felt like they wanted to attack downfield. They had a lot of success with that, but they couldn't have an extension of their running game in the short passing game because the short passing game didn't exist on Friday night. I thought that was a little weird because the first 2 weeks of the season, it was all short passing.
A lot of it.
So it's just it's one of those things, hindsight, allows me to sit here and pontificate on that. But even in the moment, it was, where's a quick slant? Where's just a quick tight end out? Where's a hitch? Where you just get the ball out and let your tight end, even if it's 3-4 yards, that helps you versus having to constantly try to hit on these 16-yard passes. I thought Jamal Banks had 2 really big third down catches that kind of allowed Nebraska to finish with touchdowns, that if those plays don't get made in previous years, they absolutely don't. Nebraska's not walking out with points. So they were fortuitous a little bit in their deep passing game, too, to even be in the position to potentially win that thing on Friday night.
Schaefer, quickly before we get you out of here, what do we know, if anything, about Dayton Rhule as a football player?
We know he's left-handed.
Oh, I did know that, yes.
So we've
That's
got
cool.
that going for us. So it's going to look a little bit different in that regard. He's very raw. I watched him at Friday Night Lights. Very curious how it's going to be portrayed that performance was. I didn't think it was a very good one. It was very inconsistent. And that's fine. I think if people go into this commitment thinking, hey, this is a guy that has a lot of physical gifts that aren't, not everybody is blessed with, and he has a work ethic that I think he has, he is going to work really, really hard and eliminate some of the stuff that he does right. Every third throw coming out of his hand at Friday Night Lights was almost a knuckleball. I mean, he just doesn't have the consistency or the smoothness of his brother. You know who doesn't have that? Most of the other freshmen in the 2024 recruiting class that aren't playing because they're not it's the unfortunate thing for Dayton is the natural comparison is, well, he's got the same last name. How does he play like his brother? They're different players. They're going to have different areas of their game. He is a guy that I think is a long-term developmental bet on someone who's going to work his butt off and try to give you everything he has. And here's a great thing. Nebraska has Dylan for at least a couple more years. Right now you have Daniel Kalen in your system. And you hope that you can convince him that he's going to get his opportunity down the line and to keep, putting the work in and setting himself up for that. TJ Lateef is in your 2025 class. And now you have your 2026 quarterback. So you shouldn't necessarily be in a spot where you need this Rhule to help you out as quickly as you needed the previous Rhule. So I think that's a good thing for development. I think he's a long-term project. I think there's a lot to like there. I just hope that people don't see the last name and think he's going to be the second coming of his brother. Different player, different timeline.
All right, Schaefer, we'll let you go. Appreciate it. Enjoy your pasta this evening. That sounds delicious.
Oh, it'll be fantastic. I'll send you and you alone a photo.
Thank you.
No one else gets to see this for you.
Don't tweet your meat.
Have a good one.
See ya, Mike Schaefer, Husker 247. Now, when Dylan and Dayton are both on the team at the same time, are they both going to have nameplates on the back of their jerseys that say Rhule? Or is Dylan's going to be D.Y. Rhule and Dayton's going to be D.A. Rhule?
Sure seems like the latter.
Why doesn't he just go the full name and put Dylon Rhule on the back of his jersey? Sounds fun.
That would be fun and would be a huge boost to sales.
It'd be great.
Jersey sales.
And it would be a very important moment for this show.
Oh, yes.
All right. Josh is going to quickly have the odd news when we return. Matt Rhule's press conference coming up at the top of the hour. It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
All right, Matt Rhule's press conference coming up in just a few moments. Josh has the odd news first. Josh?
Hello, how we doing?
Great.
We go to the big house.
Yeah.
Michigan beat USC.
In your buy it up special.
That's right.
Interesting.
That's right.
And I said I said I wasn't sure.
You definitely had a better leaning as to where the game would go. Oh, they're just going to run it with Orgy because it's the only way they can move the ball. That's right. But an even bigger error was made during that game as I don't have what point of the game it is, but at some point the Jumbotron said, Lincoln Riley thinks you're quiet. You're spelled Y-O-U-R.
Okay.
That would be the incorrect form of your here at this very prestigious learning institution, the University of Michigan at Ann Arbor.
It was the apostrophe one.
That's right. It was shortly fixed.
That's nice.
Later, but Twitter is forever.
Yeah. Screenshots. Sorry. You got it. This is just one of the fundamental things you got to know. They tell you this in elementary school, and they tell you you're going to have to know this for the rest of your life. This is one of the times you have to listen.
You're in there. Those are the two.
You have to figure that one out.
Mm-hmm.
If not, you're going to get made fun of by the rest of society for the rest of your life. Sorry.
So even in a great victory for Michigan, we can still find a way to laugh at them.
Yep.
Staying in college football. These are all three college football related.
I love college football.
Yeah, we're a huge college football show. Many in
come on, let's go, Josh.
I know.
Spit it out.
TCU was not thrilled to be playing on the CW against SMU Saturday night. SMU routed TCU 66-42 on Saturday, giving the Mustangs the iron skillet for the first time since 2021. As SMU was the home team, Saturday's game was part of the ACC television package, which includes airing games on the CW. It could be a little tough for viewers to find. Well, apparently, it does not exist in Lincoln, according to Jack Mitchell.
I've never tried.
Sorry, Jack. Clemson coach remarked earlier last season he didn't even know how to get the CW. But after Saturday's game, the ACC football Twitter account had some fun at TCU's expense. Before the game, they tweeted something rather derogatory towards the CW. And ACC football Twitter responded with a final score graphic and said, "Thank goodness it was only on the CW. TCU fans probably, one of those." Do we like conferences clowning television networks and teams?
Yes, we do.
Are we okay with this?
We love clowning all over the place.
Okay.
I love when people get dunked on.
Okay. Well, big dunk there for SMU over TCU. Finally, Connor, I feel that this is the best point in the show to talk about our beefy burrito boy.
All right.
He said if BYU beat K-State, he would shove a 5-layer beefy burrito up his butt.
Yep.
That exact thing happened.
Convincingly.
And my guy, I guess I'll call him my guy. He was tweeting through it. He said, at one point he said, "I am so cooked right now." That was like in the third quarter. He said that.
I should have said that a lot earlier.
Yeah. 13 hours ago, he tweeted Saturday, 9/28. "I pay the bet, 9:30 p.m. It just means more. Salute emoji. Hashtag Big 12 football." There is also a video of a beefy 5-layer burrito
going into the freezer
on an American flag on a table.
Yeah.
And at St. Bill Snyder,
he pops up behind with a bag over his head to the sounds of "Welcome to the Jungle."
Okay. I hadn't heard the audio of it.
It's pretty funny.
Okay.
This guy's doing what he's supposed to be doing.
Yes, he is not deleting his account like 321 Knowles did.
I mean, he's obviously not going to shove a burrito up his butt, but he is going to do something that brings the college football world together, and we love when that happens.
Yes. Yesterday he tweeted, and I'm not saying this is exactly true, but this is what he said. In talks with Taco Bell execs, we're going to make college football history.
100%.
Yeah.
That's what was always going to happen here.
Taco Bell is in on this.
We don't have that many
extent.
more times left where this is actually funny.
Mhm.
So I'm glad we'll have this one, and it probably won't be funny after this anymore.
I would agree.
Okay. So now we're done with guarantees on Twitter.
Uh-huh.
Try something else. It could be fun. Thank you, Josh.
Be original. Thank you, Connor.
That's the odd news. We'll be back with Matt Rhule's press conference on the other side on 1620 The Zone. Welcome back. Connor Happer, Josh Hudson with you on a Monday edition of the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. As you can tell now by the weather, this weather might motivate you to head over to Vallis Pumpkin Patch. It's open now through November 3rd. And I swear to God, there's more and more stuff that happens there every single year. So there's the regular stuff there's the big chair. There's the easy way or the squeezy way. But then there's also many other things now, too. There's a whole cidery out there.
Cidery?
Is that what they're... I don't think that's what they're called.
I don't think so.
Anyway, go visit Vallis Pumpkin Patch. And if you'd like tickets, just listen to unsportsmanlike conduct, which you were going to do anyway.
Yeah.
But I figured I'd remind you.
Just let you know what's going on that show.
All right. So Matt Rhule's press conference is theoretically coming up. On the BTN, they're not going to play it until 1:20. That's not what time it happens, right? 1:20. I would.
Was that 1:20 Eastern?
No, it was 2:20 Eastern.
Oh, okay.
1:20 Central Time. So is it possible that I missed an email that the press conference is happening later? I don't think so. I would never miss an email, Josh.
Maybe Matt Rhule was yelling at people and he's like, look, you got to push this thing back. I'm not done yelling at these guys yet.
We have no correspondence from Nebraska on when the press conference is today, but I assume that everybody showed up at the whatever time. In the meantime, Nebraska is going to play Purdue this week at 11 o'clock on the Peacock.
This is official.
Yes.
It's not like leaked and then deleted. And
nope.
Okay.
Next week, the October 5th, this would be the Rutgers game. This is now also official. Nebraska will welcome in the Rutgers at 3 o'clock on FS1 next Saturday. Not this coming Saturday, but the next one.
The next one.
As part of BTN or the Big Ten Network's slate. So you're going to have Oregon and Michigan State on the Friday night. That could be fun.
Hello.
Big noon, we'll head to Happy Valley to get Penn State and UCLA. Woof.
Yeah.
Purdue, Wisconsin is a game that day. That'll also be at 11 o'clock. Afternoon games, Iowa goes to Ohio State on CBS. Indiana and Northwestern on the BTN. Rutgers and Nebraska on the FS1. Big Ten Saturday night, Michigan at Washington. And Big Ten Network Saturday night, USC at Minnesota. Wow. That game will have... I hope you like maroon and yellow because that game will have a lot of it.
Yeah.
It'll look like both teams are playing each other.
National championship rematch on NBC, the Peacock Network, not airing on Peacock. I apologize for the confusion.
It'll be on NBC. All right. So, and by the way, that week, Josh Peterson has just reminded everyone that it'll be Josh and I for the first time ever on Big Red Overreaction.
That's right.
After the Gers game.
You were both so high on Rutgers, I found it fitting that you host that episode of Big Red Overreaction. And I knew you had never worked together on a project before, so I slapped you together. I did that.
Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that. All right. So I don't know. Maybe there's not a press conference. Maybe I was wrong. I'm not sure. Or maybe we're still waiting.
Do we want to talk about the theory that we're tinkering with?
No, Josh, like that theory is, we could talk about it.
Okay.
But it's irrelevant right now because the press conference is straight up isn't happening right now.
How do you know?
The people aren't tweeting about it.
Maybe it's embargoed.
We would have seen a tweet.
Maybe they said, bleep those guys.
No.
Nobody talk about this until 1:20.
So on your stupid theory, the whole world doesn't revolve around us, okay? They wouldn't be not streaming the press conference just to keep it away from us. I don't believe that.
We're pretty great.
I don't believe that.
And if everything everybody says is to be believed, Matt Rhule listens to the show, loves the show. Everybody hates when we, have the audacity to give someone a nickname, whether it be a coach or a player. Or
they really don't like. They all think that we're condescending when we tell people that.
It's probably our tone.
Do you think we have too much sarcasm on this show?
It's a fair critique.
When we refer to Dylon as our precious baby boy.
Nothing about him, tiny.
When we refer to him that way, we mean in the sense that you want to wrap your arms around him, love him, protect him, keep him safe.
Swaddle him.
Yes. Not in the sense of like he can't handle himself. He's just a baby. He's a baby in the sense of college football players.
Yeah, he is like the lowest grade class that they let play.
That's true.
So he's a baby in that aspect.
Okay, Swift is saying that Robin Washut reports that he'll take the podium near 12:20. All right, so we got 5 more minutes to just get after it then.
Okay.
Alex Lincoln says Josh is out here pairing hosts that the people want. Nice. Happer's Beam Guy says Skurs versus Gers.
Hell yeah.
Let's do Skurs versus Gers.
I'm into that.
I am excited about Skurs versus Gers. All right. Do we have, I don't know if we have 5 minutes to unpack the whole mental thing. Josh.
Feels like that would take longer than 5 minutes.
But were you not thinking about it a little bit? How else would you explain these occurrences that happened to Nebraska football?
So he missed Lindemeyer, and then overtime went the way overtime went, and I went, wow.
Well, he fumbled the football twice in the previous drive, too. People forget.
I'm like, man, even he is, obviously I don't think it's like a real thing, but like whatever it is, even got the amazing Dylan Rhule.
The amazing Dylan Rhule.
Well, I can't call him a baby.
But when you say the amazing, it sounds like he's a carnival act. Maybe he is. Maybe he has to
People
be
come from all over the country to see him, and you better see him now because he's gonna go pro. Gonna leave.
So I thought before the season, and even as we get into the season, that Nebraska, through its never-ending quest to just it just goes after the next thing, right? What's next? They're working hard. They're going through all these things. That when you get into a close game, that the instinct of just focusing on the next thing would take over, right? You practice it enough, you ingrain it into their heads, and you win enough games in a row that you, at some point, just forget about all of your baggage. You forget about all of your baggage. Now, who are we to say that Nebraska's baggage was responsible for them messing up so many times on Friday night? With that being said, it has been responsible before, and now it's a new quarterback and all these other things that feel really good about the program, and the future seems bright still does. But for the first time this year, Nebraska played in a close game. It was 24-24. It was the fourth quarter. Nebraska both had to make, to be fair, Sierra Wright made a play with the game on the line, right? In a 24-24 game. Something went right for Nebraska. Had a chance to finish it off. Third down went the way third down went. Fourth down went the way fourth down went, right? Nebraska got a stop at the end of regulation, technically, right? And then they went to overtime, and overtime happened the way that overtime happened. It was a caller earlier, Josh, who mentioned, what did you think about sort of like, and I don't think we ever discussed it really, like what, because I was down in the field at the time when they went into overtime, and I was kind of watching, and I was like, how we feeling about this? I'm not sure that Nebraska was in like the best headspace going into overtime. I don't have any real life examples to prove that to you.
There wasn't like a conversation on the sideline like, oh, you gotta get your head in the game, guys.
There was. They all came together. Like the whole team came together. I don't know what was said in that conversation. We'll probably never find out. I don't know what the tone was like in that moment. But I do think there's a lot of guys in this team who have been through all of these warts in the past, and they're all like, really trying to repeat that message. What's next? What's next? No, forget about it. And sometimes, like one of my things in the Frost era was that they had a lot of guys who were kind of fake tough guys, and that obviously derives from I don't know, maybe the head coach,
interesting,
who was, I don't know, maybe a fake tough guy. But like there was just a lot of rah in those locker rooms, a lot of rah. And I think that's the way they wanted it to be, right? That's the way it was in the 90s, right? They wanted it to be that way. Guys, that was Scott Frost That was his vision. Like, that's how leadership went to him, right? Rallying guys. That's not how leadership looks to Matt Rhule. Matt Rhule's version of leadership is just doing the right thing all of the time.
Win the rep.
Doing the right thing all of the time. It doesn't have to be the dude who like emotionally brings people together and gives them a hype speech and gets them ready to go, right? I think that could be counterintuitive. With that being said, I think there's a lot of guys in this team who do think leadership goes that way sometimes. And I don't think it's any fault of their own. I just think that's kind of how they and I think there's a lot of guys in this team who have been around for a long time who so desperately want it, right? You might want it too much, right? And so Nebraska, what ends up happening in those situations is just it tightens up on them.
Probably felt it crashing down on them Friday night.
And so sure. I think that exists. How do you get it out? I don't know. You just get one to go your way once.
Right.
Right. But it's I think I felt that. I think the stadium felt that on Friday night. And it's now something, unfortunately, that we're going to have to keep watching and keep talking about. Thought it might have been gone. Not gone. Not gone.
The statistical anomaly of not getting a first down.
It's absurd.
Yeah. It seems impossible.
It's absurd. Text from the 402.
Hi, 402.
I think the term for what Nebraska did in overtime is bleeping the bed. I don't want to get too technical with it. Might be right.
This isn't an X's and O's show.
Another text here that let's just, all right, let's get to this text right now. Swift, did Rhule and company pour too much into the Colorado game? Just haven't had that fire since then. I don't know if they poured too much into it. I think the challenge is getting back to that level. I think the challenge is finding that edge again.
Can you give me 85% of that intensity every game?
Can you give me 100% of it?
Well,
can you give me all of it? They're going to have to find all of it this week because nobody else is bringing that to them, right? You have to find that if you're capable of playing that level, all of a sudden that becomes the expectation. You have to do it. You have to do it.
Do we do the thing that we're going to do at some point this week? Do we just do it now?
No.
First road game, sleepy little town, 11 a.m.
Yeah.
Didn't look right last week.
Well, you're going to hear that a lot. You're going to hear that a lot.
So
it's scary.
We're not doing that right now.
No, because we're taking a break.
Okay.
Because Matt Rhule is apparently about to step up to the podium. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. Still no sign of Matt Rhule. We do have PJ Fleck. Do you want to listen to him instead? PJ, what's going on? How you feeling? That was not a good game on Saturday.
Disappointed.
That
Floyd went to
disappointed.
Iowa. Congratulations to them in taking it. And now we got to be able to respond. So with that, questions.
Okay. Thank you, PJ. See ya. I'm glad to hear that he was disappointed right away. It was perfect timing.
Yeah.
We tend to do that a lot.
No, yeah.
Happens. All right. So we'll see what happens when we.
I'm just hitting refresh so much.
I know it'll happen when it happens. I guess. I am very interested to hear his comments today about things. You take the emotion out of it. Take the emotion out of the tape. Good to watch a game that way. By the way, we got a couple texts going back to the previous segment here. Yeah, and by the way, I just got a message from Sam that says Rhule hasn't talked yet, and it's definitely going to go through 1:00. So we probably won't have Sam on the show today. Now he's stepping up to the podium. Apparently, this is live as it happens. Sam has just messaged me this. So
hello.
If you see that link, you're gonna want to go right into it. If we don't see it in the first couple minutes, then we'll just move on and find other things to do, I guess.
I believe I have it.
And read the quotes off of Twitter.
I believe I have it.
All right. Let's go out to Lincoln. Here's Matt Rhule in his Monday press conference.
Turner's has a significant hamstring, so he'll be out for a while. And Tommy's probably day-to-day just based off his pain threshold of dealing with the plantar fascia. Not that I can think of. Jamari's going to play, so that was the one that was out before that.
Let's think of Sierra Wright coming in. What that looked like to you?
I thought he played really well. Forced a fumble, had the pass. Had tight coverage on the one. He got the pass interference call on tight coverage down the sideline. Thought he played with energy and physicality. Thought he played really well.
How about Gunner? For Turner and play.
Yeah, I thought Gunner came in and played really well. Unfortunately, overtime got away from us a little bit, so that affected us. But even that was like a twist move, the twist game, and needed a little bit more help there. But I thought Gunner came in and filled in well.
Illinois coach 5.5 yards per carry on 19 first down runs. Did you see any prevailing theme there? Anything that was a constant?
Yeah, they had they have still had a lot of yards after contact. It's the second week in a row I'm saying that's disappointing. I think I believe, and if I'm wrong, forgive me. At halftime, they had 31 yards rushing. You know what I mean? So it was really in the second half because I remember addressing that. Like, hey, this is a. We predicted it. We told, hey guys, they're going to come out. They're going to go tempo, no huddle. They're going to run RPO it. So like when it happened, they were that we were really settled in. They adjusted as the game went on, and they found more runs. They ran some crack tosses. They ran some different things, and really at the end of the day, we just didn't get off blocks, and we didn't win third down. So, you can only run the ball when you're converting third downs because you can stay. If you run the ball, you're going to be in third down, and they were in third manageable. If they didn't get the third down, they got the fourth down when they went for a fourth down, and we're not tackling at the level that we've seen us tackle at, and getting off blocks and at the level we've shown before. And so that's something that we have to improve this week.
How do you work on some of the communication issues? You mentioned the man-to-man coverage and guys maybe not doing what they're supposed to be doing. How did that get ironed out over the last couple of days?
Yeah, and honestly, Sam, it's not even like I know I have this. The one, Deshaun got fooled on the one where the guy kept going from tight end to O-line, right? And they followed the rule. I think they announced it. I don't know. They announced it to me. So, we need to know that, but he got fooled on that. But the rest of them, at the end of the day, like the touchdown that they threw was the same play we threw on 4th and 3. And we just don't cover the tight end. And then the next time we get picked on the tailback, on the wide out coming out of the fullback position. So we're just going to have to be a little more disciplined, we have to be a little more disciplined. And that's kind of, it sounds like coach speak, but it really, honestly, that's kind of where we are right now is these games get tight and our team gets a little tight and they start doing uncharacteristic things. And that's my job. I have to find a way to get us over the hump.
How do you feel about that pass rush, specifically in that game?
Well, I didn't think it was good enough in that game. The thing that was disappointing was, we had some good rushes, and quarterback gets up inside. We had 4 guys. We had some miscommunications. Again, a lot of errors on defense that we haven't seen. I haven't seen us make since last year at Michigan, and it showed up for the first time. And so I could sit here and go through every little thing with you, honestly. And I'm happy. I'm happy to. But I'm saying, it's like literally, I'm just trying to. If there's one theme I have is none of it was quite good enough. And we still had a chance to win the game. That shows the progress our guys have made. That with all those mistakes and all those, giving up a touchdown on the first drive, all that stuff, we still had a chance to win the football game. But really, it's just what just wasn't good enough.
Illinois started bringing a lot more pressure up the middle on Dylan. I mean, do you expect teams to adjust and continue to try to force the issue with him versus letting him have to make decisions in coverage?
Yeah, I'd blitz him. Like we were winning versus man. We put 4 wideouts on the field a little bit, saying, hey, just with the thought process of can their 4th corner cover Ja'Cory or Jalen, and they started playing a lot of zone. So that's what you saw Dylan just going up and down the field on them in zone because they're a man team, and then at the end of the game they said, okay, enough, and they went back to man. They went back to pressure. And it's just kind of what we said last week. It's going to be bare defense, 5 1-on-1s. They bring the linebacker. Our back has to block the linebacker. And the disappointing thing was even overtime was obviously it was not nearly good enough. It was a debacle, right? But at the end of the day, it's just a missed assignment. It's not like we're not good. That's my message to our guys. Like they blitz the linebacker up the middle, the tailback doesn't pick it up, and how do you can't win these games doing that? You can't win these games false starting, and so. So people are going to pressure us. We just, again, just like on defense, on offense, we have to be a little bit more disciplined with what we're doing in terms of. It's not like we're doing new stuff than what we were doing the first couple games. We know what we're doing. We got into this ball game and we were just a little too tight, and we had to settle down and make one more play in my mind. And Illinois played loose and they made a couple plays that won the game for them.
On that subject of him of Illinois going back and forth between zone and man. You guys talked before the game about how that was difficult to diagnose and he was going to have to do a lot of it post snap. How did you see Dylan?
He crushed it.
Assess that.
Yeah, I thought Dylan was excellent. I thought he got fooled on the very first one. They went to zone. He didn't see it. He looked at the man side. And after that, he said, "I see the safety." And he was great at it, right? And seeing it, I thought we had chances. At the end of the day, we have 2 interceptions on the year. Both are balls in our hands, right? So we had a chance to. We catch that ball, we go up 2 scores. I thought Dylan saw the field well. The things Dylan has to do. We have to just keep working on protecting the football, right? Even 2 hands on the pocket. We put 2 balls. That one drive we had where we were backed up. We put 2 balls on the ground there. Obviously, that can't happen. Then we got on them, but so there's a lot of things that he's working on. But his preparation is allowing him to see what's happening in game time.
37-yard return. What happened as you talked over the next day there?
Yeah, we were right there. I mean, it's a in the left hash, we're punting the ball to the left. The gunner, everyone's running to the left, and then the ball goes all the way to the right. So just a bad punt. Long punt. So you kind of outkick the coverage and you kick it to the right side of the field. So these guys are running like this now. They have to turn and chase. And I thought the guys, they gave effort to get over there, but that's just. It's kind of even the big kickoff returns we've had. We kick the ball deep kickoff left into the left side. We're trying to pin them. So our coverage is all like that. When we kick the ball in the middle, it opens up a lot for those guys. So it's the same thing on punt. So it's like kind of everything else in the game. It's just all just a little, it's not terrible. It's just all kind of like this. And you get in these Big Ten games, again, I told our guys, it's like our narrative as a team has to be like just completely focused on this week because you start thinking about all these other things, you have a game like this. And Illinois, I mean, you could feel Illinois' passion for that game. They've been waiting for that game for a long time since we went there last year. And I thought our guys played hard. I have no issue with that stuff. It's just a lot of uncharacteristic mistakes. And I put that on me. That's not, some coaches come and say, oh, it's on me. No, when that happens, I'm always like, this is typically things that happen in year 2. You have a couple games and all of a sudden you have this game, you come back down and you're like, all right, then teach the guys like, hey, you have to attack every game the same way in terms of your energy and effort and stay locked into the game. And then I have to find a way to get our team to, when the game gets tight, not get tight, but enjoy the battle and enjoy the competition. And I just felt really tight out there, in the second half. Except for some guys, Dylan doesn't feel tight. He's out there running around. Let's go play. Some of the young guys don't, but I think some of the older guys are, kind of like this, and then they start doing uncharacteristic things, as opposed to, I got Sam man, I'm just going to play him man. So I say that to say we have a good team. They have to just play well, and that sounds so simple, yet that's kind of where we are.
Which player voices have you seen kind of step up, and the people that are saying maybe the necessary thing, but also at times maybe the tough thing for somebody?
I think Jamari has had the hard thing with Jamari. He's been limited the last, he didn't play 2 weeks ago and was limited this week. I think we have a lot of guys. We have a lot of leadership. It's just I'm trying to say it. It's we have such good character, and we have such good effort, and we have such good leadership. We just have to play a little bit better. I played for Coach Paterno. Games like this, he'd be like, "Everybody settle down. We just got to make one more play. Just go make one more." And that's kind of how that game felt. The ball's in our hands. We just don't quite cut down with it. But they make a play. It's 4th down stop. They make a play. So I would just say that for us, like on our sideline this week, we can't worry about the officials or a call we feel goes against us. We can't worry about Tony and Sat and Ed trying to make the perfect call. Or our guys just have to go out and play, and we just have to play loose.
What do you think the recent past that played into playing tight late for especially with the older guys? And how do you get over that hump?
Yeah, well, it's a chicken and the egg. How do you learn how to win if you've never really won? And so, but our guys are winners, and that's the biggest thing for me. Like, our guys do winning things, and so I just want them to be themselves in these moments and stop worrying about all this other stuff and just go out and compete. Illinois came here to compete. Illinois wanted to beat us, and we wanted to beat Colorado. And you start getting these games, and again, it's the disease of like, well, they're going to be this many, they're going to be this record going into this game, right? Like, I've tried hard to get them not to listen to that. They don't listen to me necessarily because they're 18 to 22 and they have their own brain, and God love them and I believe in them, but that doesn't get you anywhere. It's just like, hey, just go compete against this team and play as well as we can. So hopefully this was a good wake up call. And again, I have to own that the fact that our team went out there and didn't execute in crucial situations. I have to own that.
How tough is that balance when you're maybe a little unsure of the kicking game where it's been right now on when to go for it and that sort of stuff? Or what's your message to those guys who have struggled a little bit?
Yeah, well, it's very hard to make decisions when you're making decisions based off of like percentages. Like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, hey, this is the ball on the 21-yard line should be like a 95% field goal made, right? And but the game shouldn't have come down to that play. So I'll say that. Say that for John. Johnny's going out there and he's filling in, and he's going to be an excellent kicker. He's working through. This is a lot. Like this, it's to go from like not kicking to all of a sudden you're kicking the game winner in Memorial Stadium with, the whole world watching. That's a lot, right? And to not get the perfect snap, perfect hold. I mean, both those guys weren't with us even in spring football, really. I mean, Aiden got here at some point, but you guys get what I'm saying. Like, they're recent, so I appreciate them going out there. But that being said, like, you're on the team, you're in Nebraska Cornhusker. We got to make these plays, and so we just have to go out. We have to make one more play. So whether that's that snap or that kick, or if you go back and look at some of the routes open in overtime, like we're wide open. We just make one more block or block our guy. So, but yeah, it's tough, but that's my job. I have to make the right decision. I chose to kick it in that scenario. It didn't go in, so I have to own that.
And as you reviewed that kick, was the hold okay? I mean, how'd the operation look?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a great hold. I mean, it's not a great snap. I mean, the laces are kind of in, they're not. We'd like to snap the ball with the perfect amount of rotations that when we catch it, we don't even have to spin it. We put the ball down. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for the ball in the hand, so that the kicker doesn't have to even see the ball come here, then put down over here. We're looking for the ball on the hand, come down, laces out. That's what we try to master that craft. So it's not perfect. And, I don't want to put it on any one guy. I mean, that ball has to go through the pipes, right? If you want to win these types of games, the ball has to go through the pipes. But again, we also have to make more plays to, if we have a 17-10 lead going into halftime, if we have a 24-17 lead, we can't let them convert, 3rd and 9. We can't let them run a quarterback draw and throw the ball to an O-lineman. Like that's not Nebraska defense. And, our guys will just play a little better, hopefully.
What is the status on him, and how do you manage that? Because it seems like it can be a back and forth thing that you've already dealt with him all season.
Yeah, it just wasn't getting any better. It's hard because you can't really. It's not like diagnosable, right? So I think the thought process was just to shut him down. Last week, kind of as of like Wednesday, just didn't feel great on Tuesday. Shut him down last week, however many weeks it takes, and then try to start to build him up and see. So we're going to be in a lot of games like this. You'd like to have excellent field goal kicking. We did that with Tristan to get him healthy again, and then hoping that John can respond from this. This will be an opportunity for him, really, for the rest of his life to be proud of his response. I trust that he'll respond well. This is difficult, but like I said, the game didn't come down to just that.
With your kickers, as far as having other people around, other voices they can hear, whether it's technical stuff, psychological stuff. Ed, of course, can do some things, but he's not. I don't think he's showing them how to kick the ball, right?
Yeah. We hired Brett Martin. Brett's on staff. Brett's coaching for us. He's working with those guys. We have a mindset coach. We make a highlight video of themselves each week for visualization. We're working through all those things. There's a process for young players to become a great player, and sometimes you have to go through some of these hurdles on your way to becoming a great player. And really for our whole team, we went through this disappointing game, and we have to emerge on the other side. We can't. I told them today that guys are walking around with their heads down today and all that. Ain't no time for that. We got to get ready for Purdue. We have to learn from it and move on. We're kind of still in to the question earlier, learning how to win phase, and that's each person learning how to win their phase, their job. I hate that we're still learning how to win phase. I mean, that's not what I want. It's not like an excuse. Like, hey guys, bear with us. But it's the Big Ten. I keep saying that enough. Everyone's going to show up every week, and the games are going to come down to the wire. I mean, on Saturday, I'm watching USC and Michigan. Games are going to come down to the wire. You got to compete. And so, yes, we have those voices and those people there for.
Brett's here all the time.
He's at practices and meetings and stuff like that. Yeah. I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. That's a good question. I'm under the impression he will. I hate this. If I'm wrong, I'll let you know.
What did you like from the defense? I mean, they obviously had a chance. You had a chance to win the game. What went well on that side?
We did good. We did some good things on defense. Like I said, Sierra came out, made some plays. It's just it just wasn't what we expected. I mean, I thought they settled down in the first half. I thought they settled down after that first drive, right? Tommy's trying to go, he can't go, he comes out, he plays another series, and then thought we kind of settled down. I just think the thing that's hurting us a little bit is even when we're stopping them, it's long drives, it's time of possession, it's flipping the field and we're starting with the ball at our own 10, 12, 15, right? So we like to defer, we like to kick off, we like to try to make you go 3 and out, get the ball in good field position and play tilted the field. I think Coach Ferentz has shown everyone how to do this in this league, in this weather for a while. So if we're giving up an 8-play, 10-play drive when we can just make a play and get off the field. But yeah, I mean, I think overall, I don't think any of us is real satisfied with Friday night.
With the defense, then, I mean, what have you seen for those guys since they got back in the facility, got back to work this week?
Yeah, I mean, we just finished stuff just now, so there hasn't been a lot. A lot of guys were around yesterday. I met with some guys one-on-one. I think everyone sort of feels that, I finished my team meeting, my review of the game. I think, you get a lot of ownership from those guys. A lot of, the biggest question as a coach is, everyone can tell me how we lost, but you have to figure out why we lost. How did we lose? Well, we couldn't get off the field on third down. We gave up all these yards after contact. The question is why? Where did this come from, right? That's the secret sauce of fixing these things. And so, to me, that comes from a lot of intimate, personal conversations with players and coaches, and that's something that's going to go throughout the whole week. But I've tried to hit on really 2 of them. Number one, every game's going to be like this, so we better get comfortable with battles. Every game's going to be like this, and we got suckered in a little bit maybe early in the year where we're up by 28-0 at halftime, and it's like, oh, okay, great, we're a great team now. I know I feel very secure that we've tried to say, hey, we're going to place better teams, but so sometimes you have to just go through this and realize we have to get really comfortable playing with 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, right? It's kind of been my message all along. And so, Sam, you asked me something, and we do have to run the ball better. And I kind of said, as you watch it, we have to run the ball better. Even if we're throwing the ball at a really high level, we have to run the ball better so that, we wear the other team down a little bit more. Even when it's a team like this, that, Purdue's going to do the same thing. They're going to put 8 guys in the box and say, throw it. But we have to find a way to run the ball better.
Carry distribution, what you would like it to be?
Well, I probably would have liked more carries, but I mean, this was a game for me where I felt like this game coming in was going to be I wanted 25 carries for Dante. I felt like he was going to be the hammer in this game, because there's really no ways to trick that defense, right? You're going to have to run the ball between the tackles, and they're going to be body blow runs, and then you hopefully split one. I would like to get Emmett more involved in the offense. But just kind of became a throw game, and we were having success throwing the ball. And so, to me, there's a way to win every game. You get in those games, and like I said, we put 4 wides on the field. They're playing cover 2. All right, let's just go attack it. And again, we went down and scored. But just as we move forward, there might be games. As long as we win, I don't care if we don't run the ball once or if we don't throw the ball once. But I think as we move forward, we have players that can help us that we need to utilize.
He did back on the field this weekend. Could he play another position besides guard, or is he strictly guard for you guys?
Potentially, he could potentially help us. Yep. Yeah, he could potentially could. Yeah. We haven't practiced yet. I've never seen him take a snap there, so I don't know. But Lutowski's played tackle. Kanaka's back this week. Micah's played tackle in the past. Gunnar played well. So we have a lot of things, but we have a lot of work to do. We practice again this evening, and then we have tomorrow like full pad practice. So we'll see. We'll see where we're at.
Is he back now?
Oh yeah, Micah played in the game. He was on the field goal team. Yeah, I don't know that yet. We'll see how practice goes. Yeah, we'll see how practice goes. But like I said, as I said, like Mike has been kind of working through some things, and I think he's made some progress. So if he's available this week, we'll play him.
How do you think this team's going to play on the road? You guys have started the season 4 straight home games.
I think it'll be another battle. I hope we play well on the road. I think there's nothing quite like getting in a hotel and kind of just being us. And being in hostile territory. And the great thing about us is we know our fans will travel, so it's not like it's like you go somewhere and you don't see any red. We'll certainly have our fans there, but I hope our guys are looking forward to it. And we had a great game with them last year. Hudson Card's an excellent quarterback. Maccabee's a tremendous tailback. They have Reggie Love as well. And they ran the ball for 250 yards last game. Their linebacker 4 is as good a player as there is in the Big Ten, leading the Big Ten in sacks. He had some big hits last year. So, and again, it's the same defense in many ways. So there'll be a lot of challenges that we tried to fix last week that now we'll have to see how we do it this week.
Defense gives up 300 rushing yards 2 weeks in a row. Is there anything you can derive for that for your offense, even though you don't have a running quarterback?
Yeah, because a lot of things, both teams had running quarterbacks, and really Oregon's running, getting it unbalanced and running zone read. So things that we did with Heinrich, would maybe carry over. But we're game planning. We'll look and see what fits, what doesn't, what we can do. But I think when you have a running quarterback, that's obviously really alters the way in which you do things. And, Dylan's obviously, he can do it on 3rd and 1 maybe, but.
You had mentioned you weren't sure if you guys were the more physical team on Friday.
Yeah, we weren't.
How do you feel about that? And how has practice changed this week at all as a result?
No, we practiced hard. We've practiced hard. So we weren't the more physical team. How do I feel about it? You probably know. You probably can guess. How do they feel about it? Our players feel about it? They're not happy about it. So there's the ebbs and flows of a season, the ebbs and flows of watching players grow, ebbs and flows of watching a team. Like I said, I'm proud of the way, they came in today, the ownership that they had. Even like it's not funny because none of this is funny, but it's like, you rip a ball out early in the game, and for the second week in a row, the first guy in's tackling the ball and trying to rip the ball out. And that's not who we were last year. Last year we came in and we tried to strike you and hit you. And then the second guy might rip the ball out. So we have guys that I know can really respond, and they're going to have to, because these guys, they run outside zone as well as any team will face this year. And we'll have a lot to get done.
Game 5, with the 4-game redshirt rule, do you revisit some of those things? Like, is Riley Van Poppel, based on what you saw in your depth, are you still okay with him in the 4 games?
I had him put his helmet on in the middle of the game. I said, go get your helmet, because we were just struggling. But then, as I watched the tape, it wasn't necessarily that. I thought it was really some other areas, some other fits on the line at linebacker. So I didn't feel like. But yes, if someone's going to help us win, we're going to play them. It's only if they're not going to help us that we're going to redshirt them. So I think again, this isn't like for me. This isn't like, oh my gosh, like what happened? Like, let's just blow up everything. Let's change practice. Let's change. No, to me, it's like, hey, we faced a team that was really focused and determined, and we still had a chance to win it. And we had to make one more play. Hey, let's get back to the basics of what are we not doing well, and work on those this week. But Riley's a good player, so if Riley can help us. Now Sua's back now, which I've been waiting for. So I'm excited about that. So we'll have to kind of see it. but I do that with all, I'm kind of doing it with a lot of the guys, right? Like I'm keeping an eye on some of them. Hey, he's at 3 games, where's he at? We're going to try to give him a chance to do some things this week. So, we're looking for some, last year when you watched us play defense, I don't mean to talk to, guys made a lot of plays on defense, and I just would like to see us make a few more plays while doing our job first, make a few more plays. And that's why Sierra, everyone kind of noticed it because he came in and made some plays. Right. And so I just kind of challenging the staff, hey, let's play a few more players. Let's get some more guys in. Let's see who can make a play on the ball. Like let's get V9 in the game. Let's get some more of these guys in the game. So, we'll see how that plays out during the week.
What do you guys say on when you in your film session when you watch the double pass on that last drive of regulation, and is that obviously you're trying to catch them off guard, but is it also just another way to continue to involve Heinrich and be creative with that?
Yeah, that's the same play we ran at Minnesota last year. We threw the touchdown on. We just kind of have it up, and I was good with it. I said, hey, if you guys call it today, call it. And Sat called it. And, it's when you're hoping to hit the home run, but if not, you get 12, 15, 20-yard gains. So, as I look at our team, my job, I think, as a head coach, is look and say which players are not being utilized enough. And I'd say Heinrich's one of those that we're, that maybe we're not utilizing enough. So, he had a couple plays. He was in on a short yardage play. He had that play. But, if he can help us more, it's glad we got Fedoni more involved this game. But to me, Heinrich's another guy that can help us. But, that was just a play we had in, and Sat pulled the trigger on it.
Back to Brett, just when did you add to this stuff?
So Brett's just kind of consulted for Ed for a while. And then I think kind of as Brett's, kind of his life has shifted, just kind of right before the first game, I think, Ed would kind of use him as a sounding board, kind of to Rich's point, like show him some video. We're blessed here. We have like our specialist camp. We have 5 or 6 NFL kickers that help us. And so he kind of would use him as a sounding board. And then with the new rule, we went to, Troy and all those guys today, can we add him to the staff? And so, he's been with us since training camp going into the first game.
Dylan Lobby go for that 4th down.
No. I don't remember him saying anything to me. So,
Is he in a position like before he's in his career, like what he says would?
Yeah, I'll listen to any person if they put the time in. I'll listen. They say, I tell the players all the time, never take advice from someone you wouldn't trade places with. And that's, and I also say never take criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice from. So I'll listen to anyone if they put the time in, like Ramir came to me last week and was like, hey, we're running one play. And he's like, Coach, we're running this and they're making a shuffle. But, on the cut-ups, McCaffrey's, when he runs it, they just turn and go. And I said, you're right. So, Ramir had done the work and he's like, look, why are we doing it like this? And so we changed it. Now there's 2 ways to do it, right? So it's not like this one was wrong. We were wrong. It's just when players have an opinion, I like to, if they put the work in, but at the end of the day, like, if it's 4th and 2, 4th and 1, if you go back in that game, a lot of our 3rd and 1s became 4th and 1s. We hadn't really won a lot of those short yardage things. And, so that was just kind of the thought process, but yeah, like Dylan, like when Dylan threw the touchdown to Nair, just so we have an idea what we're talking about with this kid. And, he walks off the field. He goes, Coach, I'm sorry. That was so stupid. I was trying to throw it away. I should have thrown it away. Like it's not the result that I'm looking for. It's the process, right? In front of championship caliber preparation, championship caliber habits. And then the last part of this thing is like championship caliber expectations. You get to the 4th quarter, like, go make the plays to win the game, or the 5th quarter, go make the plays to win the game. And unfortunately, we had to make one more play. All right. Thank you very much, guys.
That's Matt Rhule at his Monday press conference. There's a lot to recap from that. I find it quite good timing on our part that we had that discussion about the mental stuff right before we went to that press conference, because boy, did that pop up.
Yeah.
Well, you sound easy, Josh.
Did I? We'll talk about it after the break. I didn't love the things I heard. I don't know how you feel.
All right. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone.
He does it the only way he knows how. With his massive sports brain sprinkled with a smidgen of rabble-rousing. Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Welcome back. Connor Happer, Josh Hodson with you in the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. A reminder to get your picks in for the $25,000 four-quarter pick'em. It is open for you right now for 1620 The Zone, the email subscribers. Make your picks right now. You get a piece of the prize, 25 G's. 25 G's, baby. At the end of the year, we give away a grand total of, I think it's actually more than that technically, and $2,500 per week. We've given out that much already, $2,500 for the first week. Then for the second week, that contest will end tonight, and then we'll give that money away, and then we'll just do it again for the rest of pretty much the season. 10 weeks, Josh. That's a lot of weeks.
That's right.
That's a lot of money. You can go sign up now. I would sign up for 1620 the email, 1620thezone.com. Okay, Josh, you got problems? What's wrong?
Oh, that tonally. Boy, it was a lot of, I don't know. Yeah, yikes. From Matt Rhule at his weekly Monday press conference.
Really? You think so?
Am I wrong? Did I misjudge?
In the sense, okay. So, what is your takeaway?
My takeaway
that
is
he was like, "Wow."
He really didn't seem to have a lot of answers. He seemed concerned about his team's mental state. But hey, Brett Maher's coming in.
Brett Maher?
Maher, yeah.
Oh yeah. He's here. He's been here
Yeah.
actually. He's been here the whole time. So for those of you who think he's going to fix the kicking game, wrong. It's not true. It's actually the opposite. Maybe he's ruined the kicking game. I'm not sure. So, a lot of talk about the mental stuff. He says we're not tackling at the level we've seen us tackle at. Not getting off blocks the way we have before. Just need to be a little bit more disciplined. Things get tight, and the team gets a little tight. They made errors that I haven't seen us make since last year against Michigan. The overtime was a debacle. At the end of the day, it's just a misassignment. It's not like we're not good, just a little too tight. I had to make one more play. That came back up later. Every game is going to be like this. We might have gotten suckered in by the first 3 games being up so big. We have to get comfortable with playing in the fourth quarter. And then he talked, they had to run the ball a little bit better. But generally, I think I think was one of my takeaways too. They were too tight. It's good to have that confirmed, right? It's not like it's not fixed. I don't think this is like I
don't think it's hit the panic button, but not what I thought we were going to get from him today.
Oh, that's pretty much exactly what I thought we
really?
did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that conversation strayed into the exact way that I thought it would go.
He is normally very positive, very detailed in those Monday press conferences.
I think he was positive. I think the positive spin on what he said was, we're not bad. We just have to do better. Right? And that's the point. Obviously, they're still working on that. They're still doing that. And I think they had a bit of a wake-up call on Friday night. While also giving credit to the other team. Like, they were good. They did some good things. They had Nebraska on skates for a while. But Nebraska felt like they could have played better, and so you lost one because you felt like you could have played better. Is that better or worse than straight up not having the answers and just, we are worse than Illinois?
We had to throw out half the playbook.
I think that's fine. I think that's I think that's in reality what it was. And I talked about it right before the start of the press conference. I think Nebraska has a lot of guys on its team, especially the older guys. And you heard them a little bit later on in the press conference talk about, hey, I challenged the coaches to maybe get some Get some more guys in there that, this week. I think what Nebraska has is when they get into those, he said, the Colorado game, where did I write it? We wanted to beat Colorado. Illinois wanted to beat us.
That stood out to me as well. And the one thing I think we haven't done a good job of on this show today is Illinois played a hell of a ball game.
Sure.
Friday night.
Yeah, they were fine.
I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. We'd rather blame officials and blame missed third down throws to wide open players, but Illinois played pretty well.
Yeah, they were really good. I mean, I shouldn't say that. They weren't really good. They were fine.
They're not.
They were fine.
Illinois not world beaters, but
no, Nebraska had opportunities to win that game, and I think the coach, looking at it again, thought we're just doing uncharacteristic things in moments that we haven't experienced yet this year. This group hasn't experienced the close game, and I think that's definitely still, like I said before. I think Nebraska has a lot of players on their roster who have been around for a really long time and want so badly for this to work. And I don't think that's a bad thing. You just have to channel it into not wanting it too much. When you get into these moments, just keep, like, their hope was and has been and always will be, as long as this staff is here, is that their training, when they get into those moments, just takes over to make it so second nature that when they get into these tight, close games late, that they just play, right? And they don't have to worry about any of those other things. I don't think they're there yet. I think that's what we learned. I don't think it's unfixable.
No,
I don't think it's a gigantic hill to climb. I think Nebraska had some things working for it this year that it didn't have working for it last year. Like, they have a really friggin' good quarterback.
Really good.
Really good. Like, truly, really good. And he can cover up some things, potentially. When you get into situations like that. But they can't have these, breakdowns. They can't have these breakdowns in games, and that they're still working to get over the hump on that, I think. So, yeah, I think that's the lesson from the game, and I don't think it has to be the sky is falling. I don't think it is, to be honest with you.
No, I don't think the sky is falling. I was just a little surprised. Sal on YouTube.
Maybe this could be your moment where, last year you had the game against Michigan. Maybe this is your moment of this year.
Maybe they,
because last year,
keep that intensity the whole season.
Last year there was an edge. Last year there was an edge to them after that game. And they wouldn't play that Friday night game at Illinois, and they were really good. Maybe it'll be the case this time around, and you'll feel differently a week from today. Ooh. Or not, and we'll talk about that too.
Sal on YouTube.
What up, Sal?
I don't know. We're trying to analyze his tone and find some deep meaning in it. Might just have low blood sugar and need a fistful of almonds.
No, I think he's made a point. I don't have any problem with, like, really diving into what he was like. But I think on Friday night after the game, I think he knew that Nebraska did some uncharacteristically bad things in the game, some out of character things, and some stuff from some mental problems that had popped up constantly for the last couple years now.
You got mental problems.
Yeah, I think he knew that, and I think the message and the tone that he was trying to convey in the post-game press conference was, calm down, right? We're beaten down by this. You should be beaten down by this. Excuse the kind of monotone, here's what we have to do. But that's what they're trying to get their players to understand. This is a process. He talked about it with Dylan Rhule. He said on Dylan's throw to Nair in the short corner of the end zone that got caught, he ran over to the sideline. He goes, "Coach, I'm so sorry. That was so stupid.
I was trying to throw it away.
That was so stupid." Then it got caught for a touchdown. That's what he's trying to get his players to understand. Like, not, it's not necessarily about the results of this.
Omaha on YouTube.
Hey, Omaha,
the whole city.
Yeah.
Connor, stop sugarcoating this. I believe the city is.
What am I sugarcoating?
You're carrying Matt Rhule's water. I'm the only one with the guts to call him out.
I don't think so.
On what I'm calling him out for, I'm not really sure.
Michael writes in, Connor, no, you, my friend, are wrong about Illinois. You said last week, I'm not worried about Illinois. They'd beat a bad Kansas team. Did you see them against Central Michigan? They're not very good. And guess what? We were not very good. And they were, and they are beating who's in front of them. And we are not after Friday. That was a lot of words in a one sentence, Michael, but I think I understand what you were trying to say. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm not being clear enough here. Like, I am not going retroactive here and saying that Illinois is like this this world-beating 9-10 win team now. I said this morning, Gary asked, they're a 17.5 underdog. I wonder why that is. I go, no, that makes a lot of sense to me. I still don't think they're that good. I think Nebraska screwed it up bad. How am I the one carrying water for anybody at this point? I was the one who was mad this morning. I think people should be pissed about what they saw on Friday night. But do I think it's all fixable? Yes. Yes. So I apologize for putting a positive spin at the end of this thing because I think all Nebraska's problems are fixable. I don't think all of them are fixable. I think that a lot of them are fixable.
Not the kicking.
I don't think that Nebraska
stop sugarcoating. The kicking sucks.
The kicking thing is maybe not fixable. You're going to be running 50-50 as long as you live on that one, maybe. And I wonder if they have the answers in the run game.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I think it's fixable. I think the defense being just straight up bad on third downs and against the run on Friday night, I think that's fixable.
You could find some fool's gold this weekend against Purdue because I don't think they're good against the run.
Yeah, I don't care. Give me the fool's gold.
Sure.
I'll take
Sure.
all of that gold.
Sure.
Right?
Also, he's like, maybe we scheme something up for Harburg, a running quarterback. Like, yeah, do that.
Yeah. All right. By the way, Jeremiah writes in.
Hi, Jeremiah.
My guy Connor going after people for run-on sentences. Man, gosh, you might be so much better after loss. Josh runs the show for life, baby. Life. What did that mean? What were those words?
What?
Man, gosh, you might be so much better after loss. What does that mean?
You might. First of all, pie beats cake. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you're trying to tell us they're going to get better after this loss.
Yeah. 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 What's wrong with that? Why do you run the show?
Oh,
what's going on? Is that just the truth?
Seems pretty obvious.
Okay. All right. We got some comments that comments that sorry, getting choked up. Comments that I'd like to get to on what we just talked about there. I'm not I don't think what you heard at the press conference was Rhule pressing any panic buttons or anything like that. I think they realize that they still have this task that is ongoing of trying to get dudes to understand that it's not bigger just because there's more noise and there's more energy and it's a close game and it's the fourth quarter and it's a Big Ten game. And it's like they're trying to just get everybody to approach everything the same all the time. And it's so hard. It's so hard. And I think there's probably a realization of that.
Quote, those guys don't listen to me. End quote. Matt Rhule from today's press
Those
conference.
guys don't listen to me. All right. We are back. I want to get your guys' thoughts as we continue on. We still have the worst segment ever and our Big Ten report cards.
Hello.
Sam will not join today because the press conference was a little.
No. We don't have time for him.
No. Sam doesn't. We mutually agreed. Back after this on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
I have this from the sports desk.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Plenty of great sponsorship opportunities available for that sports desk.
Yeah, that's just when we get press releases.
Uh-huh.
That
did you is it fresh off the wires?
Yeah, just right off the wire. The wire, who knows? The line, the online. Fred Hoiberg will undergo a medical procedure on Friday to have his pacemaker replaced. He is now getting a third pacemaker. He previously did this in 2014 and originally had it placed in 2005 when he had open heart surgery to repair an aortic aneurysm. He will be available to the media tomorrow, not just to talk about his heart and his pacemaker, but I assume to talk about the basketball season upcoming, which practice begins today or tomorrow.
I am going to ask this question. A,
how's your heart?
Seriously. And B, knowing full well it, like, ignorance on my part. 3 pacemakers is a lot, right?
Well, I don't know. I assume they just run out of life after.
Do they change those out frequently?
They just run out of life after 10 years. You just put
a
new one in. I don't know why it lasts 10 years or whatever, but it seems to be pretty much right on the mark at 10 years for Fred. He got the one in 05, got it replaced in 14, getting it replaced again in 24.
Mm-hmm.
I just did a quick Google and I asked,
how long do pacemakers last?
Yeah, I just wanted to know more about the surgery. No, not how long they last. I wanted to know more about the surgery.
Oh.
And they just basically slice it open at the top and they take it out and they put a new one in. It takes like an hour and then they cinch them up and you can basically go home.
Johns Hopkins says 5 to 7 years. Google's AI says 5 to 15 years.
Well, how about that? He's running right down the middle of that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so our thoughts go out to Fred.
Yeah.
Hopefully everything goes smoothly as expected. Here's a tweet from Jordan.
Hi, Jordan.
They, meaning the University of Nebraska Lincoln's football team, are going 5-7. Too many disturbing trends from Friday in Northern Iowa.
Well, no, beep. Back the bus up here. What? No.
They're going to go 5-7, Josh.
No, that you're saying they're going to lose 2 of the following games at Purdue, UCLA, Wisconsin, at Iowa.
He's saying that they're going to lose every game but 2 the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Yes.
2 wins coming.
That's it. So, disturbing trends. Tell me more about the disturbing trends. If you think that, I'm not saying you, just the royal you.
Mm-hmm.
If you all think that Nebraska's defense is just this bad, and they have the plans now. Everybody else has got the plans, and they took the Northern Iowa tape and they took the Illinois tape, and they're just going to do that, and Nebraska will react the same way throughout the rest of the season. Then sure, they're going to be in a bunch of close games. Talk me into it. But I just don't think that. Like, I think Nebraska has a good defensive coordinator, and I think Nebraska has the talent and the experience to get guys in the right spot at the right times. And I think they have more pitches. Like their proverbial pacemaker ran out of batteries I think
tie it all
just
together.
get a new That's not it. They're like a pitcher with 5 pitches. And they've been throwing their fastball for the entire season, and it's getting hit around. It's time to mix some other stuff in. That's all.
Yeah.
Like, I think they have answers on defense. I do. I don't know if they have answers to what they need to fix on offense to make it. Like, I don't think this is a bad offense. What I'm worried about is it being too one-dimensional of an offense. And so that is more of a question for me. With that being said, I asked this question to Josh during the break, and I'll ask you here. So if you think they're going 5-7, okay. The last two games, the trends have been disturbing. Whatever. Let's talk about it.
34-3.
So
a
they
disturbing trend.
I mean, they got run on a little bit. So if you think they're going 5-7, they went 5-7 last year, did they not?
Yes, that is correct.
They went 5-7 last year.
I've looked at the numbers.
So if you think they're going 5-7 this year, you just think that's the same team from last year. The defense, holds up its end of the bargain enough. Like, I just don't see how that works with Nebraska's offense. Because that offense, I mean, it can score.
They will make plays.
How many points a game they averaged last year? Like 18 or something like that. It was horrendous. It was horrendous. I mean, they're not turning the football over. Mm-hmm. The only times they're turning the football over is when touchdowns get stolen by the other player.
Which has happened a lot.
Which has happened.
What's that thing about if I had a nickel for every time it's happened, I'd have 2 nickels, but
yeah,
it's not a lot.
You would literally have 2 nickels right now because I guess the Lloyd one in the UNI game wasn't a touchdown, but it could have been if it was thrown out there a little bit further. And the guy, the Illinois guy, I mean, what a play.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And by the way, this led to a whole side conversation of me having to yell at people on Twitter about how do we not understand this? Guys, when you catch the ball in the end zone, you have to complete the act of a catch. You don't just get it the second that it touches your hand because you crossed the plane. This is not a play at first base where all the time the first baseman has to have there could be a snapshot where the ball's in his glove and the foot's on the bag, and then at no other time it matters. This is not that. You have to complete the act of the catch, go to the ground, and secure it if you're falling, That's how it's always worked. I don't get what we don't understand about that. It's an interception. Sorry to announce this to you. It's an interception. But back to the point. This offense is pretty good. Like, if we're looking at total outputs, I don't want it to be a pass heavy offense. But at this point, if it's scoring 40, 28, 34, I know some of these were defensive points, and then 24 again, we're talking about averaging, and you're not going to play UTEP every game, but if you can get me mid-20s in points, and the defense is what it was last year and allow that, you're going to find yourself winning some games. You're probably going to be in a whole bunch of close games. Again, just like we thought. So I just don't, they're already 3-1. I know they had this close loss. I just don't see how the math works. I've been wrong before. I don't see how the math works to get them to 5-7. I've been wrong before, though. And I also don't think this is the type of coaching staff that things are just going to get off the rails and fall apart, and they won't be able to put the pieces back together. I don't see that either.
I think their quarterback is going to
win him some things. He's one of the best in the Big Ten. He might be the best in the Big Ten.
Whatever you want to call it, masking things, you want to call it hiding some things, that's fine.
Yep. Nebraska this season has had 40 offensive drives. They've scored touchdowns on 15% of them. That's 37.5%. Last year for the season, they scored touchdowns on 19% of their drives. Last year, Nebraska scored had a greater percentage in which their drives ended in turnovers than it did touchdowns. 21% to 19%. This year, they are turning the ball over on just about 7% of their drives and touchdowns on 37.5% of their drives. So, yeah, it's just better, right? From a bulk perspective. But they have a standard that they want to live up to, and they want to be able to run the ball. So there's that piece of it as well. All right, quick call from, let's go to Douglas on the 42 Degrees of Source hotline. Douglas, you're on the show. What's going on?
Hey, guys. Hey, I was really upset. I was at the game, Friday, but looking back, we have a young quarterback. He missed some throws he should have made, but he's a freshman, so no, I'm not concerned about that. And then I think Illinois, they're a good team, and they played almost a perfect game, and you throw in some other Husker mistakes on defense. I'm not concerned. I mean, like, yes, we could have won it, we should have won it, but still in the learning phases with this team, and so yeah, I'm not horribly disappointed.
Thank you, Doug.
Looking back,
Yeah, it doesn't have to be the worst thing in the world.
Thank you, Douglas.
Once you take away the emotion of it, you should be disappointed. You should be disappointed, and you should wonder about what it's going to be like going forward. But I do think there's a slew of problems that are fixable, and there's also a slew of problems that you just have to kind of deal with and figure out and mask, like Josh said. But yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff in there, and clearly the coach thinks so as well, that are fixable. All right, we got to take a quick time out here. We'll come back. We can still get to your calls and text on the other side. We still have the Big Ten report card to get to on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. All right, we'll still run through our Big Ten report card from over the weekend.
Yeah, how'd the other slugs do?
Slugs?
Slugs.
I don't
know if that's a
There's
word.
a lot of slugs if you think that Nebraska's not a slug right now.
Slug or no slug?
That's the new game. Big Ten report card is canceled. We're playing slug or no slug next Monday. Remember that. I certainly will. Back to the 42 Degrees of Source hotline. Here's Alan. Alan, you're on the show. What's up?
Hi, guys. How are you doing?
Hi, good.
So I watched the game now twice. I watched the second time kind of while I was listening to Overreaction, and I kept hearing them say that they don't have a running game, they don't have a running game. And I think their point was they don't have a running game that they can rely on when they have to run it. But after watching the game, I thought their running game looked good. I didn't think it looked great. But they were moving the ball. They were picking up the ball with first downs in the running game all the way up until like the fourth quarter. To me, it just looks like they just I don't want to say they need to learn to win, because a lot of these players are winners. You know, they're coming from high school where they've won. They've only been on the team now for a year or 2 years. But I don't know where the disconnect is, but I saw the running game working for them throughout the game. Maybe not exactly when they needed it. And then I just saw breakdowns, individual breakdowns where people were just missing stuff. So when we come to the idea of how Nebraska is and how are they going to finish and who is this team, I don't want to repeat everything, but it's a process. It's something that they have to learn how to execute in that moment. And that's not easy. And it can take time, but at the same time, I think they're just as good of a team as we saw the first 3 weeks. I'm not going to let week 4 game where they lost in overtime, like totally disengage me from this team. You know, it's not like the past years where, you know, we had a close loss like this, and now we're looking at 5 or 6 more close losses, you know. And even if we are, this is not the team that Scott Frost coached. This is a disciplined team in my mind. Can they use more discipline? Yes.
Yeah.
They need to. One thing I did not hear anybody really bring up last week when I was listening was the key to the game. And to me, it always came back down to penalties. And penalties, again, are the thing that really killed Nebraska. I mean, one play, there was a 31-yard penalty.
Yep.
It's like, come on, guys. You know, this is the stuff. The little details are what are escaping, I think, this team right now. And for my book, I think the little details are the things that you can clean up during a season.
I agree, Alan.
Do you agree with that?
I certainly do. Yes.
Okay. So I just wanted to put out there to all of Huskerdom that pump the brakes. Give it a chance. Let's breathe. We're going to go out and we're going to rock Purdue just because Purdue sucks. And it's going to be a home win or a home away victory. So I mean, let's enjoy this. You know, I think we're just so used to having the past 7 years of doom and gloom that we're just automatically, as a fan base, falling backwards into that because it's something we know. But I don't think it's something that is indicative of the mentality of this team.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Alan. Appreciate it. So the tough part is, like, you lost a game in a very familiar way, right? These breakdowns and whatever. Is it fixable? Yeah. I think to Alan's point. I mean, that's kind of what I've been saying the whole show, especially on the defensive side of the ball. It's a lot what they screwed up. Fixable? Yeah, I think they think so. I think if you, I don't know, maybe if you could go back, and I don't know what it was like in the locker room in the week between Northern Iowa and Illinois, but, you know, maybe there would have been a little bit of like, hey, they're coming, you know, one of those, and you could only convey that message like verbally, right? There's no real understanding. With that being said, I didn't feel like Nebraska was unready or unprepared to play the game, But I think they had a game plan to wear Nebraska down, and they did so. And Rhule said it like they were never able, because of the game script and on the running piece of it from Allen, like they were having some mild success with it, but then the game script didn't dictate a way that they could really, really get back to it. And that was some of the conversation we were having about that third down play a little bit earlier. And as far as that's concerned, I'd just rather probably put it in my quarterback's hand at that point if you're having to wonder. And he didn't make the throw.
Oh, reliable.
Yeah. That's the guy that I'd like the ball in his hands. I wondered how they'd approach that at the beginning of the year, and they let him have it right out of the gate. One of the first third and shorts that they went to all season was, a pass.
We're not gonna baby the quarterback or whatever Matt
Nope.
Rhule said.
Not going to ease him into it. Going full steam ahead. Okay. We'll have plenty more time to get to this tomorrow and throughout the rest of the week. But it was interesting stuff indeed today from Matt Rhule. Report card. Who's a schlug and who's not a schlug?
Schlug or no schlug.
Schlug or no schlug. It's not a pass-fail test, so we can't play schlug or no schlug. So we have to give A, B, C's, D's, and F's.
All right.
All right, here we go. Who gets the A's for the week? I'm giving A's to 4 teams in the Big Ten Conference this week.
4 A's.
4 A's. Iowa for their bludgeoning of Minnesota.
Yeah.
Made him look like a schlug. Caleb Johnson is, woo! He's good. Their second back is good too. Iowa's run game, if they're really on top of it and they have the script and the control in the right way, they're as tough as they usually are. Illinois for their road win in Nebraska.
Oh,
making it happen on Friday night.
Ranked road win.
Penn State, I'll just give it to them. But I don't really know what else they could have done. They won 56-0 against Poop Town.
They out the yardage is the stat to look at from this game.
Go for it.
Very quickly. 718 for Penn State.
Yes.
67 for Kent State. There was a running clock in the second half, something Kent State refused against Tennessee a week earlier.
Michigan gets an A for me.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Way to go, Michigan. Pulled themselves off the mat. People were wondering what's going on. They got back to it. They made a couple plays late. They overcame USC and ended up winning the football game. Nice job by Michigan. That's an A. Iowa, Illinois, Penn State, Michigan. B's get degrees too.
Absolutely.
Here we're, Maryland, we're going to give a B to Maryland because they were fine against Villanova. Like they won, right? Rutgers, nice job by Rutgers going on the road, beating Virginia Tech. Got a little scary there at the end. Couldn't close it out.
Yeah.
Figured it out. Ohio State, you let up a touchdown for the first time all year, sadly.
Oh,
2
of them.
Yeah, and beat Marshall 49-14. You get a B. Indiana. I'm very sad to announce that Indiana has received a B for this week. I hate them with all my heart, but they won 52-14.
What did Biff Pogge's wardrobe grade out at?
A plus.
Hell yeah.
A plus. So Indiana's 4-0, and they don't really have too many challenges coming up. And then USC gets a B. I know USC lost.
I like that you've done this.
I like how USC responded to getting jacked in the face a couple times in that game.
I've seen USC lay down in that game many, many times.
I think they weren't really going anywhere on offense for a long time either.
The whole first half, basically.
Nice job. Nice response. Very impressive with the loss to Michigan. I did not think that'd be my takeaway from that game, but indeed it was. Indeed it was. C's. Washington and UCLA get C's. Why? Because Washington beat Northwestern 24-5.
Can't wait to Big and 60 that one.
It might take exactly 60 minutes to watch the whole game with commercials. And who was the other one I gave it to? UCLA.
Right.
Hey, nice job.
Gave LSU a half.
They didn't get beat 78-0 by LSU. You get a C for that. Good job by UCLA. D's. Nebraska. Let one slip. Very sad.
Tough but fair.
First D of the year for Nebraska. Michigan State gets a D for losing to Boston College. No shame in it.
Yeah, BOB's got them playing right.
It was a game in the fourth quarter, but you know, it was a game that they could have had. Didn't end up doing it. Minnesota, gonna be tough. Got to stay on track there. And then Purdue, who got really ran all over by Oregon State, 38-21. They could have got an F here, maybe. But our F.
We have an F?
We have one F.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's Northwestern.
Yeah. Mustard 5 points.
Yeah, can't get 5. You're going to have to get more than 5.
Can't get 5.
Yep.
112 yards. Very balanced, though. 53 on the ground, 59 through the air.
That's what you want. If you're going to have 112 yards, you might as well be balanced. That's our Big Ten report card for the week, Josh. Sorry, we had to speed it up a little bit.
That's okay.
We'll be back with the polls. Tell you what to watch next on 1620 The Zone. To the polls at Happer Show on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. 3 poll questions today. The first one was, do you have the Padres? Nobody has the Padres, was my point.
Certainly didn't have them going like 44-16 down the stretch.
I don't have the Padres. 86% say no. They don't have the Padres either. Other 2 polls. Will former President Jimmy Carter be at Liberty First Credit Union Arena on his 100th birthday, October 1st, to see ZZ Top?
You should be, but will President Carter?
Yes, he will be.
Seems doubtful.
You're going to vote no?
Yeah.
60% only say no.
It's going to be a packed house. I don't know if
That's
he
just
does-
respect to Jimmy Carter. That's just
Yeah.
them saying Jimmy Carter gets it. He'll be there. And finally, which is more exciting for Mike Schaefer? The Guardians winning the World Series, the Vikings winning the Super Bowl, or his garlic parmesan crock-pot pasta tonight?
Most voted on poll question of the day.
It's got to be the pasta. He was very excited about it.
Definitely.
53% said Mike's garlic parm pasta beats out the Vikings winning the Super Bowl at 33% and the Guardians winning the World Series at 14%. I think you guys got him.
You got his priorities right.
Yep. He's pegged. Josh, what are we watching tonight?
Not a lot. It's a Monday. We do have 2 Monday night football games.
Did you know that today is National Volleyball Day and there are 0 volleyball games across the country?
Great work. Great planning, committee. Wonderful. Jags Bills 6:30 start on ESPN and 11:80. That game is on 11:80. Okay. The game on 1620 is the game that is on ABC at 7:15. The Washington football team, aka the Commanders, against the winless Cincinnati Bengals.
Intriguing.
Right? They're winless, right?
The Cincinnati Bengals? We lost to the Patriots and the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's 2. Yeah.
That's 2.
Okay.
I love this part of the NFL season where I think it lasts through about 4 weeks. You can recall every team's schedule because you've watched every game. Every game. It will not last much longer.
Baseball, just a 4-game slate today. Cubs, Phillies, 5:40 MLB Network. With a win, the Phillies clinch the NL East.
Oh, that'll be fun for everybody.
Sure, yeah. Red Sox, Blue Jays, 6 o'clock tonight, your MLB TV free game of the day. Mariners, Stros, 7 o'clock ESPN Plus. And then Giants and the Dirty Diamondbacks at 8:30 on MLB Network. And finally, Connor, I leave you with this. 7 o'clock on NBC, the season 26 premiere of The Voice. Blind auditions kick off in front of judges Snoop Dogg.
I was going to say, who's judging that show now?
Michael Bublé, Reba McEntire, and Gwen Stefani.
So they've
fully rotated every original host out of this show. Yes, that's right. Connor.
Okay. Now, last time I ever seen anything from the show, it was the guy from Maroon 5,
Adam Levine,
the Blake Shelton. Did John Legend do it at some point?
Yes, he has been a judge on that show.
Not Katy Perry.
No, that was American Idol.
There was another one. Christina Aguilera, maybe?
Yeah.
I think that was the cast last time I saw that.
Okay.
Probably would have been about, 2012 or something?
Sounds about right.
All right. Cool. Great. I'm looking forward to The Voice tonight. Looking forward to not having baseball pain. That's really it for me. That'll be good.
I'm happy for you.
Thank you. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
That's the show. If you missed anything, you could find it all on our website, 1620thezone.com. Come back because the crossover is next.
free and delicious breakfast.
Mark your calendar for September 27th from 6:30 to 8:30 a.m. and head over to one of these locations.
Omaha Home for Boys off 52nd and Ames Street.
Shadow Lake